You are entering E&C's Pod of Awesomeness.
Here we are.
You got nothing, do you, Bert?
No, I didn't.
Here we are.
I jumped in.
Here we are.
Over you. I'm all over you.
Here we are. That's how you were going to start this one, huh? Here we are.
Yeah, here we are. And I'm all over you.
Here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's riveting stuff. I can just
you see
imagine.
You see what we do? You see how we just captivate the audience from jump, right? Like, it's just, boom, we're on. Now they're hooked. They're going to be here for the duration.
And their little earbuds are just sucked into their ear holes. They can't help themselves. Even if they wanted to turn away, even if they wanted to pull it off their head, they couldn't. It's like we got tentacles into their brains right now.
Yeah. I think it's the soft tones of our voice.
Way to add to it.
I said it's like I think the soft tones of our voice. They're like pheromones for the eardrums.
Well put. I do have a velvety tone, I've been told.
Yeah. So, well,
great balls of fire.
Yeah. It happened.
It did.
Yeah.
Flaming testicles. Yeah. It happened.
Yeah.
What's your take there, Birdman?
Overall, I thought it was a pretty good show. What did you think?
I thought it was a solid effort. I thought it was a pretty good pay-per-view. Yeah. Poorly named, well executed pay-per-view.
Yeah. I enjoyed the tag match. I thought the tag match was really good. The 30-man Iron Man match, like the finish.
The 30-man Iron Man match. There was 30 tag teams in it.
Huh?
You mean the 30-minute Iron Man match?
I said 30 minutes.
I'm pretty sure you said 30-man.
Matt, what did I say?
30-man.
I said 30-minute.
Like it was a Royal Rumble.
Or a 30-man tour Iron Man match. Ooh. You put 30 Mantors in the ring at the same time. Ooh. And you can have Rhino dressed up as 15 of them. With his big fat ass.
Rhino
his
was on the
dimply golf bald ass.
Huh?
Did he come out with Heath?
Yeah, Rhino snuck himself in a little payday. Good for him.
Oh, look at him. Yeah. He still won't pay for anything on the road.
Oh, hell no. Hell no.
There's a toll. Heath Slater's paying it.
Yeah. Yeah, anyways, I did enjoy the 30-minute tag team Iron Man match. Thought it was well executed. Thought all the guys worked really hard. Looked like a real fight, real struggle there at the end. Matt bleeding all over the place, and the kind of rush to get that last fall in. I thought it was really good and exciting. The crowd seemed to eat it up, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I'm really liking Cesaro.
Yeah,
as a team, it's good. Yeah, it's cool. It's like they bought into, okay, we're a team now. If only they would get matching gear, then I think they're full in. But then again, neither did we ever.
No,
so what the hell?
Yeah. I mean, I think too is it's cool. It looks like they're having fun, right? And when you're having fun, it's just completely different. So good on them for realizing that. This is this is something pretty cool, and the tag team division's pretty hot, so they can go pretty far with it. And when time's right, they're strong enough to do their own thing when that happens too. But right now, they're doing awesome.
And the Hardus clicking along as ever. Yep. I think what happened last night with Matt's Busted Grill there, they went for Event Omega. Remember they used to do that on us with a leg drop and a splash. I don't think Matt can do the leg drop anymore.
Oh, really?
So, he's got the Jimmy hips, right? So you got to figure those Jimmy hips were jimmied back in '99. Yeah. They're going to be like dust jimmied hip sockets now. I mean, if he lands the wrong way, he's just going to fall apart, right?
Yeah. So they double splash.
Don't get me wrong. No, he did like a Bret Hart elbow drop. And I think what happened is he punched himself in the eye.
Ooh.
When he hit.
I'll have to watch it back.
Yeah.
So I was looking at Jeff because it seemed like it was really far away, and I was like, "Is he going to make this?"
It was for Jeff.
It was for
but Jeff, for whatever reason, man, that guy just I'm sure he's feeling it, but he still moves like he always has.
Yeah.
So if it was going to be a distance for anybody, probably better Jeff than
for sure
than it would be for anybody else our age.
Oh boy.
So really enjoyed that match. Thought it was set up well. What What other matches were there that you enjoyed there, Bird?
I thought the women's match was good.
I did too.
I
have one nitpick.
I do
it's probably
too.
the same nitpick that you got.
So my nitpick is
because our brains think the same way, and it's creepy and it's eerie.
Because the that arm thing, the dislocation thing, was awesome.
I knew it was, but use it for the finish.
And I hadn't seen her do it, and I turned away because I thought it was legit. And I went, "Oh my god!" And I kind of turned my head to the side, and it was so good. Same thing in my head is like, if she's a heel, why didn't they use that at the finish and get some like serious heat out of it? You know.
So
and then
here's my take. I've seen her do it twice now, and you're only going to get away with it so many times.
Yeah.
So use it when it will mean something. In this match, it wasn't even used to get the heat.
Yeah.
It wasn't the proper heat. Sasha still came right out of it after. So it's like, well, that got wasted.
Yeah.
That got completely wasted.
Right.
Whereas if you're going to go for the count out finish, have her take the bump outside, pop her arm out, and then everybody freaks out. She gets counted out, and then she stands up, pops it back in, grabs her belt, and leaves. And it's like, what a dick.
Or she pops it back and hits her from behind, grabs her belt, leaves like that's it, and then Sasha runs up the ramp and they do a little bit they did after, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but definitely, should have been used at the finish for sure. That was like my one nitpick, but I thought it was really solid.
Beyond that, really good chemistry. Really, they're both really, really.
I'm a
talented.
fan of both of them. I think they're both really good, and I think Alexa Bliss is great little heel. You know, she's got the little attitude, little swagger. She carries herself really well. So I'm a fan of both.
Yeah, she was down in NXT. I remember thinking, well, okay, she's super talented, and nobody seems to be paying attention. And then they started paying attention because she didn't give them a choice, right?
Right.
And ambulance match.
Yeah.
Ambulance. What'd you think?
I thought it was good. I thought it was exciting. Hard hitting. I thought there's like we talked about previous weeks, like little details. I'm like a super freak with details, and like at one point there they had the Strowman was kind of half in the ambulance, and they had both doors open, and then he kind of came back and stopped Roman. He hit him with that backboard a couple times, and like he's down there selling. They're standing right in front of the ambulance with both doors open, and once you do, he picks them up and throws them up on the stage. I didn't get. They could to me they could have got a reaction there where he tried to put him into the ambulance. He stopped it, tried to fight back, cut him off, and puts him up, and they go into something. That's a little thing, right? But that's like just like we talked about before, little details adding up to make things bigger. And like that would have got a great reaction if he tried to throw him and he'd stopped, like put his foot up or his hands up at the door, and he was almost pushing him in, but he's trying to fight back. And then there was a bit of a struggle there, and just a little thing there with that. And then it's one of those things where almost like that Brett Steve feel to it, where you almost kind of start liking Braun, even though he's the heel, because of the way it ended, Well,
yeah, it was. I mean, he's been getting cheered anyway because they've booked Reigns into the Cena reactions, and I don't think it's Reigns' fault. I think it's just the way they've booked him and things like that. Because I'm a big fan of his.
I am too. I think he's great. And I think he's really good. I think he's a good worker. And here's the thing too. At this point, I don't even think it matters.
It doesn't.
Because he gets a strong reaction. People are invested in him either way. Right.
Let me fucking talk, Jay.
No, you always talk. I want to talk.
You know what I would like to do is
what?
See, get a clock on our mouth word time. See who's got more. I wonder if
you go ahead,
something about that. Anyway, when they split up the Shield, he could have been the badass, quiet, stone cold type of babyface. They didn't go that route. Whatever, it's too late now. But he's doing just fine. He's a great worker. I've said before, I don't know of anybody with that little amount of experience being at where he is in terms of skill. Strowman's really impressed me too, because I didn't know. I had no idea that was going to be there. When I first saw it, I was like, oh Lord, he's going to hurt somebody. But he's he's come along great. Now with the ambulance match, match. What do you think about the attempted murder at the end? Like, it really does. It does make Braun look like a baby face, because then, of course, he crawls out of it and is bleeding everywhere.
And doesn't want any help. You know, when
there's your baby face.
Yeah. So,
do you think it does anything to put some chutzpah in Reigns' direction?
Yeah, I think it maybe adds.
Well, screw it. I'm going to throw reverse and crush this guy.
Yeah, and you could tell too. I mean, it wasn't like he rushed into it. Like, they got a good shot of him in the mirror,
morality,
kind of contemplating it, and he was like, man, screw it, you know. And then, but yeah, I think it had some layers. Like I said, at this point too, it's not super like, oh my god, you know, because he gets mixed reactions. So it's not like they have to worry about straight baby, like, is this going to do him straight baby face wise, because he's not. You know what I mean? He gets that mixed reaction. So I think I said people are invested in him either way. They're either going to love him or they're going to hate him, and there's nothing they can do at this point to change it, I don't think.
Now, doing that was one of the things that when they had first split up the heel he had done, that would have gone a long way to cementing the kind of babyface he would be.
Right.
So maybe that's what they're going for. I don't know. I have to quit saying, I want to punch myself in the face. And then every time I say it, and then it just makes me want to do things to you. Like, it makes me want to picture that I'm a rhinoceros and that I gore you with my horn repeatedly through your abdomen, take your entrails out, wrap them around your neck, and then start beeling you back and forth.
I guess what you're saying is, I'm gorgeous. Yeah. You know what that makes me want to do to you? It makes me want to take a dish towel and staple it on your back like a little half cape.
You like staples a lot.
Yeah. I'm going to staple it on your back, little half cape, and then I'm going to tear it off, and I'm going to pour alcohol all over the gaping wounds. And then I'm going to go out there and bulldog you on my grass lawn, and I'm going to spray fertilizer on you and grow a tree up through your mouth, and I'm going to climb it, and then I'm going to piss on you from the top of the tree.
Well, besides the pissing part, that's going to have no effect, because I did that last week while I was listening to Marilyn Manson, because I'm crazy, and I wear a T-shirt when I work, and I go through fluorescent light bulbs, brother, because I'm hardcore.
Brother.
Speaking of hardcore, we have Tommy Dreamer this week with Tales from the Indies. Tabby. He's back from Australia. He's going to tell us how the House of Hardcore tour went.
Yes.
Oh, but yeah, I guess before we get to that, we got to get to, I mean, the main event of the pay-per-view would be a good thing to talk about.
Since we've been lauding it for, weeks here, that we're excited about.
Lauding. Good word. Good word. Like we've been trumpeting it. We've been shouting it from the mountaintops. Yeah. Another good word, Bird. You've been reading.
Yep. One chapter into my first book of the year. Boom. This kid is educated. Yeah.
Already, it's paying dividends though. So I still stand by that. It could have been a WrestleMania main event. Especially if you had given it a WrestleMania build and then treated it as a WrestleMania match.
Well, here's this too, right? Like, and what proves that point is, even on the video package, right? You got a little, some feels there, right? I mean,
Where'd you get them, Jay? Where'd you get the feels?
Up and down my spine, Daddy.
Neck and dream.
Yeah. And then when Joe's music hit and he walked out and good, confident walk to the ring. There was that kind of rumbling, and then kudos to them too. Like, there was a big gap there between the stuff that had just happened with the ambulance, and then the kind of little makeshift match that happened, and then which could have very well hurt the crowd, but they were ready for this, and they were back up pretty quick for it. So that says how the excitement, and like you were saying, this could be featured on a much bigger pay-per-view than Great Balls of Fire.
Yeah, I think if You did Goldberg-Brock at WrestleMania, and I thought that was a really fun match. Like I've said, it was Godzilla and King Kong, and I think this was the same vibe. And I think there's very few people at this point in his career that Brock is going to sell for. Yeah. So you got to spread those out and get some mileage out of them. It just feels like Joe is obviously one, because he sold for Joe, thankfully. I was like, okay, good. At least this is a match. It's not like the Randy Orton SummerSlam thing.
Yeah, and it was quick. But the good side of that is that Joe pretty much dominated what I took out of it, he jumped on him before the match, dominated pretty much, and then it was kind of almost out of desperation and kind of one quick mistake by Joe. He hits him with something, but pretty much that's what Joe's going to hang his hat on. I dominated you, so they can still go back to it.
There's still something going forward, because if you look at it, the only two people that have, I guess three people, is Goldberg, Taker, and Reigns are really the only people that Brock has sold for, and I guess Triple H when he first came back. I guess that's the benchmark for after you work Brock. Did he sell? Okay, yeah. Then I got some mileage going forward.
Yeah, and I think it did a lot for Joe. And I said, even though it was quick, it wasn't a super long match, but I don't know if it necessarily this one needed to be. It doesn't need to be. But what I like about Brock's matches is there really is a feel like, seriously, like it could go off the rails at any moment.
Yeah,
like it's like a real, it's a fight, and there's a struggle, and it's not a bunch of false finishes and stuff like that structured like a lot of the matches are. It's still exciting. Like, people want to see those suplexes, and once he hooks you for that, the crowd comes up. Joe was going for the clutch, and they were reacting. I just like there was a different feel to it, and gave it like a real fight feel,
And fans that are conditioned on the false finishes back and forth, they might not like it, but I personally like it because, like you said, it does feel like, okay, this just feels different. This doesn't feel like a prearranged big move back and forth.
Yeah.
This feels like, okay, somebody hits one big shot, it could be it. Or it
that's
feels,
what happened, right?
Yeah. And it feels like, I don't know, like when Foreman was in his prime.
Right.
And one shot could just do it.
Right.
That's really what Brock has worked his style into. And it wasn't even initially that when he came back. It really found its groove after WrestleMania with Taker. And then I think that's when I'm assuming they thought, okay, we ended the streak with this. We got to keep this guy super duper uber strong.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that was wasted.
Yeah, and I think they do it right with Brock too, right? Where he's not there every single week. Like, keep him for what he is. He's an attraction. And they should use that.
Then the argument can be made as why is he champ?
Well, I mean, because there's nobody else like him, right? And
true. Hey, and if you think back to the days when we grew up watching and Hogan was champ, he was never on TV. Now, different time, different era. Right. There's much more TV now. Therein lies the argument.
Right.
You have that much time to fill. Your champion's not there. Then essentially you have your Reigns and your Strowmans that are carrying the load. And
right. And I mean, but a lot of times too, even if he's not, Paul's there, and his aura, so to speak, is always kind of there. So. I think it's different because, you have on the other show, I think both shows need to feel different, and the champion on the other show is there all the time. So it does make it feel distinctly different, in my opinion.
You know what, Bird? I think what folks could take away from this is that we look for the positives in things. We'll nitpick and we'll pull things apart a little bit here and there, but generally we're pretty positive.
Yeah,
we're not
I'm also pretty
Statler.
Smart. Pretty smart.
As Statler and Waldorf, as I've said, we have been before. Hey, on the other show, speaking of which, just popped into my brain. That's how it works sometimes. AJ Styles, new U.S. champion, Madison Square Garden house show.
Yeah, that's cool.
Giddy up.
I like it when that happens. It happened to me. I beat Booker T for the Intercontinental Championship on a live event, and it was pretty cool because it's one of those ones where I think it was in Iowa. I want to say. I think it was in Iowa. And it's kind of one of those ones where, you don't expect it to happen. And we're like, we're just going to do this just for people to see that, they need to come to these shows because really anything can happen.
Yeah.
And,
well, Bird, guess what? Guess what, Bird? Bird. What? I won the Intercontinental title at a house show. I think you were the next one after me to win a title at a house show because it hadn't been done for years. Yeah. And we stumbled into ours by accident. I won the E&C title from Jeff Jarrett in the Sky Dome in Toronto, hometown, brother.
It wasn't even supposed to happen, brother, but somebody couldn't get across the border, right?
That's why I said stumbled into it backwards. Yeah. And then years later, you and Booker T. Yeah. And I'm sure there's been some tag team ones. I think I remember Kofi and Punk maybe winning them on a house show, and now this.
Well, here's a little tidbit for you. Jericho and I were actually supposed to drop the tag titles to Booker and Goldust at a live event. I think it was like Hidalgo, Texas or something.
There you go. Good town, actually.
Yeah.
Good wrestling town.
Booker had gotten sick, I think it was, when we were...
From India.
Yeah. we were a trip to India, and he had gotten a bug and was sick and ended up not being able to make the loops. So we didn't do it.
So here's a little thing.
Yeah.
Because I basically don't care about the rest of what you have to say. I think tidbits is a good word, because I assume that if you were to take the word tidbit and eat it, it would taste like a Timbit. Mm-hmm. The famous donut holes from Tim Hortons in Canada. And then it makes me think about wanting to stuff about 48,000 of them down your gullet.
And here's the thing. That's not even dangerous to me, because I would swallow them in one bite.
Just like a boa constrictor?
Yeah.
Like a fat Canadian boa constrictor?
That would be doing me a favor.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, but then you'd get all neurotic and go jogging for, 22,000 miles.
I probably would.
And then fast for 14 weeks.
Or I used to put it to Tommy. I would call him and say, Tommy, do you want to go have a cardio party? And we go, and that's how we partied. We go and do the pre-core.
The only way, A, that's not real cardio. B, and 2, the only way it gets weirder is if you invited Stevie Richards.
Oh, yeah.
Who is a cardio fiend.
Yeah.
Tabe. So we have Tales from the Indies today, and you and I think this is a topic that you and I have some ideas about, and I think a respected enough opinion in this. We're talking tag teams, Birdman.
Yeah, I think we do know something, a little something about tag teams, right?
A
little bit. Yeah.
You know what I didn't realize in doing my research, because I do. Although I am about to toot my own horn here, I didn't realize how many different partners that I won the tag team title with.
How many?
I gotta go over in my head again. The research didn't stick.
Yeah.
Apparently it's 14 times.
What?
Yeah. How crazy is that?
That's crazy.
That's nuts, right? Like, I had no idea that was the case.
I think I'm only at like 9.
Only
9.
You're such a dick.
I didn't even mean to sound like a dick there.
I'm only at 9 tag team title reigns all time.
7 with you, 1 with Jericho, 1 with Lance.
Okay, so 7 with you. I'm going to count it on my fingers. 1 with Hogan.
Yeah.
Crazy, surreal.
Yeah.
Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
Which was so much fun. 2 with Benoit.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Randy?
And 2 with Jericho.
Wow.
Yeah. Because, and apparently,
you are one hell of a tag team competitor, Edge.
Apparently, the Jericho and I won 2 titles and then unified them. Because we won the Raw and the SmackDown.
So you won
the
3
same
then?
Or something. No, 2.
2
we won
1.
both, and 2 became 1. Yeah.
Because tonight is the night when 2 become 1.
I have no idea what this is. This is some kind of bad adult contemporary. Oh, it's Spice Girls, isn't it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want. That's the only one I know.
What I really, really want.
And I remember one that
I really, really, really want to zig a zig.
Zig a zig. I do remember Mel C. Was she sporty?
Yeah.
She did a song with Bryan Adams that made me tap my toe.
Yeah.
Every once in a while.
Speaking of singing, I went to the Rod Stewart concert here on the weekend.
Man.
It was amazing. But here's the crazy thing. Cyndi Lauper opened for him.
What?
And dude, I'm not kidding. She's awesome.
Yeah, I don't doubt that at all.
No, I mean, like,
I would go see Cyndi Lauper way before I would go see Rod Stewart.
Man, Rod Stewart was the man. But
he was the man. You're right. He was.
No, he is the man.
No,
but he was on that night. I meant on Saturday night.
No. That was Freudian right there.
No, it wasn't. I was talking about Saturday night. Of all the men, he was the one.
Rod the Mod. That's after that gone.
But Cyndi Lauper was amazing. And she even came up, did a little duet with Rod, and that was awesome.
What'd they do?
I'm trying to remember the song. I can't remember what it was.
It was that good. Yeah.
No, it was good. I just can't remember what song it was.
Okay.
She picked it, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you going to go see McCartney?
I'm debating it.
Do yourself a favor. If you're going to get all, little boy about Rod Stewart and you scream and, wet your little trousers there, you got to go see Paul McCartney.
Oh, and by the way, I videotaped myself singing Young Turks for you. I was going to send it to you.
I feel like that should be a Facebook addition to this show. Okay. Somehow tag that in there somewhere, because I don't think I want to see it, but maybe some other people do.
All right.
Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
You got to go see him. If you don't, it really makes me want to slap you very hard in that nerve cluster in your neck and just repeatedly karate chop you there, because and don't go into your little tirade, and here's why. All right? He's a fucking Beatle.
Yeah.
Huh. Can I that's all I really need to say, but I think with you I need to say more. Huh. Because past the Beatles, there's Wings. There's so much good stuff. Dude walks out on stage, he's a Beatle.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah. All right.
Don't piss me off, Jay.
You know what I want to do? Makes me want to dunk your head in like a bobbing for apples bucket, but it's full of beetles and apples, and I just hold your head under there for like 7 minutes and pull it up, get one quick breath, and shove your face back down in there.
Yeah, well, if you're not careful, I'm going to fly down for this McCartney show. I'm going to take you on stage when he pulls up a Sgt. Pepper piano. I'm going to take all those little bits of ivory. I'm going to shove them right in your face. Then I'm going to take a baseball bat and just repeatedly hammer them into your brain pan.
What if I just kick you off stage and I start singing with Paul McCartney?
I don't think that'll ever happen. Well, because then I'll turn into a cyclops. And I'll have a fur pelt on. And then I'll just take you and again pick you up. Well, no, I'm going to pick you up Ultimate Warrior style, but then just pull you down on my horn repeatedly.
That didn't sound good.
And back to goring. No, it didn't. It could be taken a whole different way. Realized as I was saying it.
Yeah, I was like, ooh,
whoops.
Can't take this one back.
It's out there, Jerry.
Yeah.
So you got to go see McCartney. I'm going to say one more thing before we throw to Tabe. I went and saw Spider-Man. Homecoming. Spiderman.
Oh, was
it? Spider-Man is now Jewish. And no, I went and saw Spider-Man, and it was so good. Really, really well done. It was so good. But I'm a huge comic guy, so obviously that has something to do with it, but it was really good. Even someone like you would enjoy it.
No, I like Spider-Man movies.
You do?
Yep.
Well, I truly think this is better than the other ones. I do. And even the use of CGI, which usually throws me off or makes me feel like I have to throw up because it gets all like, CGI. Crazy. Yeah. It was, gosh, what'd you say? I missed it.
It gets all CGI-ish.
Yeah, it just, I don't know. There's so much going on that sometimes I really do feel nauseous in those things.
Especially in 3D, brother.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't do 3D. I did the sound one, RPX or whatever it is. Yeah. It was good, man. Really, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite enjoyed it. You should go see it.
I'm going to see it.
You should see it. You should go see back to back. You should go see Spider-Man Homecoming and then walk straight over to the St. Pete Times Forum. I don't know what it's called anymore. And hop in and see Paul McCartney wearing a Spider-Man mask. And then you should swing on down, hop on stage with him, let Paul hit you with a roundhouse right in your ugly face.
It's actually the Amalie Arena now, and that's actually where I won my first World Heavyweight Championship. You were there. Thanks for remembering.
I don't remember that.
But the what I'll end up doing probably is inviting Paul to the movies with me, so he and I will just go to the movie theater and watch it. Yeah, it's probably what's going to end up happening.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
And then I'll get his take on Great Balls of Fire.
Well, he's going to think Jerry Lee right away. But,
All right. So should we talk Tommy?
Tommy.
Hey, are you hiring? Do you know where to post your job to find the best candidates?
See, it's a challenge finding great talent. I mean, look at me. I am stuck with Christian. With ZipRecruiter, you can post your job to 100-plus job sites with just one click. Then their powerful technology efficiently matches the right people to your job. I wish I could find one better than anyone else.
You see, that's why ZipRecruiter is different. And you know what, Edge? I'm not an albatross, all right? I am your partner. And ZipRecruiter did match us up together. And that's what's great about ZipRecruiter. It doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them. In fact, over 80% of the jobs posted on ZipRecruiter get qualified candidates in just 24 hours.
No juggling emails or calls to your office. Simply screen, rate, and manage your candidates all in one place with ZipRecruiter's easy-to-use dashboard.
That's right. Find out today why ZipRecruiter has been used by businesses of all sizes to find the most qualified job candidates with immediate results.
And right now, my listeners can post jobs on ZipRecruiter for free. Free. That's right, free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/awesomeness.
That's ZipRecruiter.com/awesomeness. One more time. To try it for free, go to ZipRecruiter.com/awesomeness.
My listeners.
You're listening to E&C's Pod of Awesomeness.
First, Tommy, we want to play you your new theme music, which will happen right now.
Tommy! I'm going home. Tommy! Daddy! Tales from the Indies.
That is awesome.
That's your entrance music, Tommy.
I would like to job it big time, but that is awesome.
Yeah. That was courtesy of Lyric.
I'm going to say, lyrical genius right there.
Yep. Lyrical gangster. Tommy.
Tommy. Did you miss me?
Yes.
While you were gone? Overseas? To the other side of the universe?
I did. We did. We had a great tour. I roomed with one ass man, Billy Gunn, who him and I are complete polar opposites, but had a great time together.
Yeah.
We were the old bucks. We wrestled the young bucks and fell victim to a double super kick party, brother.
Oh, brother. How'd that diet swap go? You know, I mean, were you eating Oreos at midnight kind of thing, and Billy was looking at you disgustedly?
Well, one, I like to watch, as you know, the WWE Network, and I'm hooked on Mid-South Wrestling from 1982. Billy
Yes,
Gunn
I know.
hates professional wrestling and hates watching tapes. And I was forcing him to watch with me because we got there Tuesday. The show was until Friday, and I made him watch wrestling every day, and he hates it even more, but actually loved it because we fell in love with the whole Junkyard Dog Ted DiBiase story.
Wow, it's
when
Junkyard.
I say polar opposites, one day the guys went sightseeing when some of the other guys came. This was in Brisbane, and we were probably together for about 8 hours, and if we said maybe 9 to 10 sentences to each other in those 8 to 9 hours, which consisted of, you want to go to the gym? You want to eat? So then I just locked myself in the room and watched wrestling and Netflix. I don't know what he did, but we had a great time.
Was it,
Billy hasn't changed. There we go.
Was the venture over to Australia as successful as you hoped for House of Hardcore, or better?
Very good question. Real question there. Actually, it was beyond successful. It really, really... I knew it from last year when I went, the great wrestling fans in Australia, and we had one sold-out house the last time when I just went to Melbourne. Actually, I say Melbourne, and everyone corrects me because I say it's Jason Bourne's brother, so I can just say Melbourne. And the first night in Brisbane, we had close to 1,000. Sydney was off the charts. I want to say like 1,600. Perth, which was a small venue, was we weren't allowed to bring any more people in, I think the venue held 550, and we went into like 702. Melbourne,
SRO.
2 people more than the last show, which was like 1389. And then Adelaide was the only show at first that I was worried about on the tour because the pre-sales were low than everybody else, but they came out big time the following week, and we packed it. It was one of the nicer setups too.
Adelaide's historically a walk-up town, Tommy.
Yes, I know that. Thank you.
Tommy, do you want to give the credit for these great houses this year to your appearances on E&C's Pod of Awesomeness? Tommy?
Well, I would like to add that now that I have said that I don't like when other people start calling me Tommy, when I do our lovely meet and greets, people walk up to me and just go, Tommy, as well as they were doing in Australian accents, and I totally just look at them. I look at them with total disdain, and I don't respond to it, and then they feel weird. So you guys are now bothering me even when I'm not with you.
Tommy.
So, but you got it in your podcast.
I think
people listen to it. A lot of people. And now if you look at my social media, I get a lot of just people, Tommy. I can't stand it.
Yeah.
I think it's the greatest thing to come out of this podcast, personally.
One thing we received this clip while you were over there, Tommy, of you were about to lock up, and all of a sudden, randomly, this guy's like, Tommy, and he put it out like on YouTube or something, or he put it out on Twitter, and you were like, you could see that you were rattled. You were like, you forgot what you were about to do.
You stopped. You stopped for a nanosecond, and then kept doing what you were doing, but you could tell it filtered right into that big old brain pan of yours.
A little bit.
Tommy.
Yeah.
Tommy.
Why aren't you making Tommy
Yeah,
t-shirts?
no, your little show's getting over.
Thank you, Tommy.
Tommy.
So you guys should be dead to me since you recast me. They have cell phones in Australia. I could have been there, and you Hobo Hank nonetheless. How you even found him
Hobo
bought
Hank.
me huge. And he had sent me a message that he's like, I hope I did you justice, buddy. And I'm like, I have no clue what he was talking about. And then little by little, it starts coming in through social media that I lost my spot, all this stuff. And then when I text you, I was like, you had Hobo Hank do Tales for me? That was a great shocker to me, too.
To the point where we had Lyric throw Hank in the intro, as you heard. So it goes from Tommy to her singing Hank to the tune of Elena from Avalor. For those wondering what that tune was. That's a big hit in this household. Tommy.
Hey, how come you haven't made any Tommy merchandise yet?
I actually was thinking of doing that, just a shirt that said my name, really.
You should do up at the top would be like Tommy and small, then Tommy medium, then Tommy and bigger.
Tommay?
No, it should be like Tommy and small up by the neck, and then a little bit bigger underneath that Tommy, and then a little bigger Tommy, and then the last one that's big go Tommy with a bunch of A's into the Y.
But then if it went bigger on the bottom, my midriff would look bigger if I wore it.
But that's the good
I think that's what he was...
You get the full Tommy all the way across it.
I have to go Tommy to the bottom and then build it up so it made my pectoralis majors look bigger.
Well, I think that's what he was getting at. That was his
really?
Subversive way of... Yeah.
Christian being a jerk? Never.
Yeah. But you caught on to it, kind of.
Speaking of being a jerk, Tommy, how was the travel? Would I've enjoyed it?
Whoa. The two people I really did think the most, because actually Christian at first was maybe going to join me in Australia. He was contemplating it. Yeah. Same as good friend Bubba Koresh, but Bubba Koresh had asked for business, and I could not afford business since a flight was like $5,000, plus you can only make the first half of the tour, so it really, really wasn't worth it. It was all right, but there were some moments where I really did think of like Jay would have been angry or Bubba Koresh would have been mad because we had, this was, the best compliment was from almost everybody. Where the best tour we ever went on. Because we also had some downtime. We all went to go do stuff, but there were times where it was me, Bull James, and Carlito sitting next to each other
Oof.
on, a 6-hour flight to Perth.
Yeah.
So that was a little bit. And there was a lot of sharing of the room, which we all worked out. But at one point it was me, Billy Gunn, Bull James, and one half of the Spirit Squad in the same room, brother.
Jeez.
Whoa. That's
So we
a
had
lot of...
these nice studio suites where everyone had their own private room.
Huh, that's all right.
Well, that's pretty cool then. But how beefy did it get in there? I mean, my days of multiple men sleeping in a room, yeah, and I just remember there being a deep funk, and I'm not talking like funkadelic. I just mean a really, really bad, ballsy smell.
Back to Billy Gunn. I love the ass man to death, but he is a big-time fart because he also, let me tell you,
It's all that protein, bro.
when you talk about eating, I eat like crap, but he eats like every 2 to 3 hours. And we were there for 16 days, maybe 17 total.
Wow.
He eat on his diet once the entire time.
Well, that's why he looks the way he looks, too, right?
Yeah, no, he's 53 years old, and man, he can still go in the ring.
Yeah.
It was one of my favorite matches. That's why you guys need to come out of retirement, because you guys were always on top of my favorite matches list. But the more matches I keep having with guys like me and Billy versus the Young Bucks, or me and Cody Rhodes, you guys are dropping in my favorite match lists. So.
Oh, we're dropping down. Really?
That's all right. It's a risk I'm willing to take, Tommy.
Really?
Yeah.
Tommy. Yeah,
I
but
saw Jay. You're doing a little movie when we were out in Australia.
I was doing a movie.
I saw your pictures. You're like a cowboy. You're a cosmic cowboy. What were you doing? You look dirty. You're perfect for you.
Cosmic Cowboy.
Did you put like tanner on your face like you used to do back in the day?
No, I did not, Tommy. That was makeup. I was.
Tommy,
You look
he
like
still
a
does,
rustic-
by the way.
A rustic Westerner.
I was. I don't want to give too much away, but I.
Okay.
I was the
He
guard.
has signed non-disclosures.
My gang was guarding the border, and you couldn't cross without getting through my gang, brother.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Though in the movie you may have not have been the leader, but in your head and what you're
No, I was the leader.
you became the leader.
No, I was the
then
leader.
you became the leader.
I was the leader.
And you probably were the leader in life too.
Tommy,
Tell
I
them
was
what
the
to
leader
do.
of the gang.
he's just going to keep saying it until you realize that he was the leader of the gang. And he still wears fake tanner.
I didn't
So
wear fake
as a for instance, hey, what you usually
I have
do,
not, honestly,
for
I've not
appearances,
put, I've not,
come
I've
on
not
now.
put fake tanner on in probably a year. I'm not even kidding.
Nobody is that orange by accident.
I have not put fake tanner on my skin in a year, at least.
Do you eat a lot of carrots?
Yes, I like the carrot.
I think a lot of the fans of your podcast would love to know how many nights that the one, after a long trip of being abused, sometimes punched, ridiculed as I drove both E&C all the time, Mr. Christian would, wherever we would go, Tommy, can you come and put my tanner? Can you put tanner on my back? Or he'd knock on your door, and he'd be standing there with gloves on. And how many times myself, I'm sure either after I left WWE, Zack Ryder or Dolph Ziggler, they all, and it gets weird when you have to put tanner on another man's back. It just feels awkward, and there's always that awkward laughing. And so how many times we would, I'm sure you did it. You used to, back in the E&C days, put tanner on his friggin' gangly body.
And also, that tanning stuff, like, you smell like a dust-flavored Dorito. You just, like...
Okay.
Stink.
I'm just going to put this out there
And
now
then
about why I went to self-tanner, all right? So in E&C days, when we were in our heyday...
I'm not saying I get it. I and I know the reason you're going to tell. I know, but tell them.
I'm going to tell them, okay? It needs to get out there.
I wear sales tanner all the time.
Tommy, I'm trying to tell a story here, please. Shut up.
Put it on for my arm. Okay.
Arm heat.
So, this is what happened.
Tommy, arm heat.
In E&C days, in our heyday, I was a tanner. Okay, I did the tanning beds. I did all the whole deal. I had beautiful olive skin. I could get a tan. I couldn't keep it tan. So I had to do it all the time. I had to be in the tanning bed pretty much every day to keep my tan. So one day, I notice that I have a little mark on the side of my nose. And I say, oh, this mark is strange. So I was going to my doctor for my yearly checkup, and I just randomly asked him, I said, hey, this little mark on my nose, what do you think it is? And he looks at it and just matter-of-factly goes, oh, yeah, that's skin cancer. And I went, what?
Jesus.
He's like, no, it's skin cancer. And I was like, well, what do I do? He said, well, you need to go to a dermatologist. And so he writes me a prescription. He's like, here, call this dermatologist. They'll see you. So I call them. They're like, oh, yeah, we can fit you in like 2.5 weeks. And I was like, so I'm supposed to sit around for 2.5 weeks wondering if I have skin cancer? So I jump in my car. You know me, Tommy, so this will make you laugh. I drove to every dermatologist I could find until one would fit me in. And
the only group of friends that would laugh at their buddy getting skin cancer, by the way. I walk in,
and the dermatologist says it's not skin cancer, but it is damage from rays. So if you don't, it probably will turn into something like that at some point in the future. So stay out of tanning beds and protect yourself when you're in the sun. And I said, well, what if I just do like a tanning bed like a few times a week? And she goes, stay out of tanning beds. And then I say, what if I just do half the time? Like, I do 4 minutes instead of 8.
You're an addict,
she says,
basically.
She says, stay out of tanning beds. And and then she says, you wouldn't believe how many people have come in here at 50, 60 years old where I have to cut a piece of their ear off or cut a piece of their nose off or something to that effect or even worse. Stay out of tanning beds. So since that day, I never went on a tanning bed again. So that's my story.
And instead of just not doing anything, you painted yourself orange. I get it.
I'd rather be orange than
pasty.
White. So
I agree.
Tommy.
Okay, well, you guys will be orange and smell like dusty Doritos, and I won't, but that's okay.
I one time put tanner on my bald spot, which created my hair to have an illustrious hue when I'm out there and wrestled, and decided not to do that. Because you would think that if you put tanner on your bald spot, it would match your hair, but no, it didn't work out good.
Tommy,
no, did it make your bald spot look lean, though?
I missed that. The phone broke up. I know you're making fun of me. What?
Tommy. Hey, Tommy, guess what? We're going to go to London for London Comic-Con on July 29th and 30th. You should probably go, too.
I'm booked, brother. I'm in Pennsylvania, but thanks. I see Jay's quite popular in the London Comic-Con area. It's been to it.
They love me in the UK, Tommy.
You should book an HOH tour over there.
Yep.
Sales of the indies.
Mm-hmm.
But see, and here's my question: Is a Comic-Con an indie?
I don't know. I don't know if I would classify it as that.
Every time you leave your house, it's an indie event. I feel.
So think about
adventure.
Put it in these terms, Tommy. Would Benedict Cumberbatch do an indie? Because he's at the London Film and Comic Con. So I'm just saying. I don't know.
What
my God! I'm choking on watermelon.
Wait. Okay. Hold on.
I may die on watermelon.
So you're eating watermelon while you're talking to us?
And you will have your own. You could call yourself your own guest, brother.
Tommy, what's wrong with your line?
I think he is choking on watermelon, so I think he keeps cutting out because of that. Tommy?
Well, why is my phone breaking up?
I don't know. Maybe.
Now I got to go outside. It's hot out. I got no shirt on. It's sweating.
You're pitting?
Oh.
Yeah, I am pitting.
All right.
So I'm headed to Vancouver.
Yeah, when?
Today.
Are you?
What time?
Today.
I got the big one in Vancouver tomorrow with your former food partner, Bill.
Oh.
And then for ASW, and W in
Oh my God.
Tommy, who's your coverage with?
They're on Sunday. Hang out with.
All right, let's get rid of Tommy.
Tommy, you suck.
Let's get Hobo.
Should we lose? Where's Hobo?
Give me Hobo. Hobo line. Tommy.
Hello. How do you guys? Now I know you're making fun of me.
He's gone.
I think that's a good end. Yeah.
It's over, Tommy.
Huh?
Tommy.
So there's Tommy.
Tommy needs to find better service. Tommy.
Yeah, he's going to use Michigan as an excuse. Yet, but get this. Because you could have called me in Australia. Yeah, like it would have worked there if it's not working in Michigan.
Yeah, working in Michigan, but it's going to work.
Chances are your burner phone isn't going to work in Australia.
Yeah, your track phone, brother.
Your flip phone.
Yeah. I lost my voice. Making fun of Tommy. Tommy.
You okay? You all right there, bird? You should put your headset back on, though. How's that? Yeah, there you go. Okay.
No, I lost my voice making fun of Tommy.
Tommy.
Hey,
so there's Tommy. He's back.
All right, we're going to have a Tommy for a while.
All right. Easy enough.
Tommy. I hate you, Tommy.
I love you, Tommy.
I was thinking, and I kind of threw this out there a couple weeks ago about our phone number, our voicemail, and we haven't listened to those for a while. So
we haven't. We haven't gone into the voice bag for a little while. The voice sack, the sack of voices, the sack of the bag full of messages.
Yep. And we should reiterate that we have not heard any of these previous. So let's see what Mega Matt has in store for us.
Yeah, fire it up, Mega Matt.
Boys, just listen to the Friday episode, June 30th, and not one fucking reference to Canada Day. Horseshit, you fucking hoser traitors. Hope you have a fucking great July 4th dinner.
Good point. It's a very good point. But I couldn't tell if that was a dude from like Arkansas.
I couldn't tell
upset.
No,
because he sounded very hoser like at certain times, like just going for a rip. But then he sounded a little rouge on his neck at certain points too.
Well, here's the thing too, right? I mean, if he was really Canadian, he would have apologized at the end of the whole.
That's true.
Tribe there, yeah, he would have been.
Yeah, so you're right. He was from Blackstone, Arkansas.
And here's the thing too, right?
I just made that up.
Yes, we didn't mention on here, but I did put out a little Twitter thing with me in a "Trust Me, I'm from Canada" T-shirt, which is pretty cool. And also, he said 4th of July dinner. So I don't know. Maybe he is Canadian because I don't understand. It's not like Thanksgiving. Like it's kind of more like fireworks and like barbecues and like day drinking and stuff. I don't know.
Fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Which could be the case too.
Yeah.
Hey, but guess what? I put out a couple of tweets too, brother, because on Canada Day this year, it was my 25th anniversary of my first match.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
July 1st was 25 years, brother.
Adam Impact made his debut.
Was I Adam Impact or just Adam Copeland? I can't remember. I don't think.
Impact.
Was I?
Yeah.
Cool. Mm-hmm. There you have it.
With your lilac tights.
Yeah, they were. And from there, I remember going to a show after that, and Ricky Johnson going, Adam Apathy. I don't think that was it, but that's close. Kind of what I don't want the crowd to have is apathy, but sure. Yeah, so I did tweet twice. I said happy 150th because it was the 150th birthday of Canada. Cheers, salut, all that good stuff.
Yep.
Miss Canada. But I love the U.S. too. I love both countries. North America is my home. Right. But yeah, even then, like, I feel like Ireland's my home now too. Like, I feel like a bunch of different places.
The world is your home.
You're
a citizen of the world, Adam.
You think?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I should be like a worldwide peacekeeper. Take me and Bono and just and there's a duel because of the edge thing, I could just kick that guy because he's bald and kick him off the stage like he fell off the stage in Vancouver, and I just take over.
Yeah.
Even though I can only play like 10 chords.
Yeah. I could go on there with him and I could play more than words because that's all I can play on a guitar.
Well, no, you could hop on the keyboards and play Beverly Hills Cop. Mm-hmm. And we just go around the world touring with Bono singing and just repeatedly do Beverly Hills Cop to bring peace to the world. Yeah. And Bono can scat some lyrics over that.
Yeah.
Jazz style, and I really feel like if we got all the world's leaders in one room and we just did that, peace would break out.
Peace by Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah.
World peace.
That's why we're dreamers, Jay. Those dreams become a reality.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
so somehow that dude's voicemail got us on that train of thought. So how about that?
World peace.
Yep. What else we got, Mega Man?
What up? Hey guys, Edge and Christian. My name is Vincent. I'm an independent wrestler, or starting out as one. And I just thought I'd read you this infamous quote by the one and only Tommy Dreamer.
Tommy.
I'll try to read it in his voice. I always tell these muscled, jacked up guys, always remember, muscles rip and tear, but fat absorbs, and that's why Tommy Dreamer is still here. There you go. That's the infamous Tommy Dreamer quote. Hope you guys liked it. If there's any tips or advice you guys could give me as a starting out indie wrestler, I'd really appreciate it. Love the podcast. Keep it up, guys.
I appreciate Vincent throwing in a nice Tommy Dreamer quote.
That was a good one. Really
Fat absorbs, muscles tear. Tommy. And I even love the fact that now Tommy is Tommy to everyone.
Yeah, everybody knows Tommy is Tommy.
Tommy.
But
to Vincent's question, so here's how I'm going to relate this. And I think back to when I was first getting in the industry, and I was trying to think, and I'll give my take on this, and then you give yours, Bird. Tell me what you think and if we agree. So I would try and think of any way to make it, because that's what you do, right? Mm-hmm. So I remember the Deanie Petty show, which was like the Canadian Oprah, for lack of a better comparison. I heard Bret Hart was going to be down there, and he was going to be a guest on the show. So I wanted to get in that crowd. So me and Joe Legend, we sat there, and I was like, okay, there's going to be a Q&A. I'm wearing my Sully's gym shirt, which is the gym we trained at. I'm wearing my biker jacket because I was like, hey, Bret Hart, yeah, I'm wearing a biker jacket, buddy. Yeah. And came to Q&A time, and I threw my hand up, and they're like, oh, here's I believe, an aspiring wrestler, da-da-da-da. So I asked Bret on TV. I was like, so what do I do? I left it as open-ended as that. And, I rewind back to that as I've been asked so many times over the years, and I totally get why Bret said what he said. He goes, honestly, you just got to get experience. You just got to get out there.
Yep.
And that's really all you could do. And then he came to me afterwards. He found me in the bowels of the building in the back hallways or wherever, and he walked up to me, Bret Hart, WWF champion at the time, and he goes, listen, I'm sorry I couldn't tell you anything more. I'm just so far removed from getting into the business that it's tough for me to give you the perfect advice for that. But all I can tell you is just to keep going out and try and get on TV and just keep slugging away, basically. And I think now that's even more possible and more doable. There might not be the territories, but there's so many different outlets to get your name out there, get your brand out there, however you want to look at it.
Social media is a big thing we didn't have before, so use that to advantage in a smart way, I think that also...
Yeah, because that's important. Don't be stupid, because it can always come back on you when WWE tries to hire you, and if you've said something stupid on social media.
Something, or it's remember, in this day and age, when you put something out there, it's out there. And so... I would also say make sure that your training is reputable. I think that's key. And also make sure, or try as hard as you can when you have the chance, the opportunity to pick somebody's brain that has been around, that's been somewhere, that's done something. Like we always did with whether it was Rick Martel or Bad News Brown or Jerry Morrow or any of these guys, we always picked their brains, always talked to them, even to the point sometimes where we thought we were bothering them. But we just wanted knowledge. So try to get as much as you can, and anytime you get a chance to work with somebody that's better than you, you can't help but to get better. So anytime you get ring time, get it, and maximize all the time you have.
And I would say, for someone, depending on the training, if you've been trained in a backyard or something, and I know people have made it from that or whatever, but just continue it. So go to a school eventually, sit down with a Spike Dudley or a Lance Storm or these guys who have schools, and, just get taught some things that you might not have been taught from someone who might be doing it in a backyard, I guess is what I'm saying. And then from there, like Jay said, pick brains, man, because we would just sit there and, just try and get into the gray matter of why these guys had been where they were.
Yeah, I always believe in building from the bottom up too, right? And by that I mean from as simple as the way I don't know, maybe it's because the way we were trained, but that's what I believe in is, and what I mean by from the bottom up is starting off with a lockup, and then working basic holds and getting the basic fundamentals of basic holds, whether it's an arm bar or a headlock, or just getting your feet right on a headlock. Because even sometimes now I'll see people grab a headlock and their feet aren't even right.
Got to get your pins under you, because
so it's I think that's imperative, and then worry about all like the hurricanranas and the bigger stuff and all these other sorts of things. That'll all come, but to me, get the basic foundation first and build from that ground floor and start building up from there. That's my opinion.
I will say, because I was of the same mind, I was like, man, but I want to do all those cool moves. And thankfully, had Ron and Siki as trainers were like, well, A, you can't do them in this gym because the ceiling's too low, which forced us to not be able to do those things, and we had to try them for the first time on shows, but it also forced us to get those fundamentals down.
Yep.
And just those little things, like you said, footwork on a headlock. I can immediately tell if someone hasn't been trained properly by their footwork on a headlock. If you can knock them over on a headlock just from standing there, then they haven't been trained properly. And so those are just all kinds of tiny things, like you said, that need to be the foundation to build to where you want to get to eventually. Birdman, we floated it around. Maybe one day we open a school.
Yeah, we should do it.
And I have another idea to tail onto that I'll tell you once we're off the air.
All right. Tell me.
But I'm drinking a coffee. I'll leave it at that.
My coffee's cold right now, but
mine's not. Mine is beautiful.
All right. We got one more there.
Shots of espresso. Okay, sorry.
We do, but if this one gets a little too crazy, feel free to interrupt and tell me to cut it. It just seemed very insane, and I wanted you to hear it.
All right.
Okay.
Hi, this message is for Jay. Jay, I just wanted to let you know that when the iPhone came out, I put my job on the line to sell you one because I'm a huge mark, and I wanted to say that I sold frickin' Christian an iPhone. So, basically, I only did that for you and John Travolta's wife. And John Travolta's wife's a bitch. But I expected more from you. I expected, some sort of a thank you. Instead, you brought in, like, Tyson Tomko, and he talked to me about his Japanese fish. And then you brought in Adam, and Adam just kind of, like, looked at me, and he's like, hey, man, what's up? And I was like, hey, you want to buy an iPhone too? And he's like, nah, I'm good. But nothing else after that. I put my job on the line. I actually got a warning, a verbal warning. I didn't get written up because it wasn't, I guess, that big of a deal. They threatened our jobs, but I got a slap on the wrist. I just wanted you to know. And then, when you were in TNA, I kind of became a ring rat for you. I came in, and I was constantly trying to figure out a way, like, man, like, Christian's my guy. He bought an iPhone from me. He's like, I'm his tech guru. At least that's what I told people. You obviously weren't. But, I came to TNA, and I came to a show in the middle of the afternoon. It was freaking hot as balls in Florida. Came to the Impact Zone, and you did a little promo before you did some tapings, and you threw out a shirt, and the shirt was meant to be to a little girl, and instead I grabbed it because I'm a peep, and I was trying to, like, get some sort of redemption, some sort of payback for my verbal warning, and instead you made the crowd chant bad things at me because I was a dick who stole a shirt from a little girl. But it was like, your aim was terrible. So what, I'm trying to redeem myself. I'm trying to, justify, putting my job on the line for you. And all I got was this lousy t-shirt. But anyway.
So that was a lot. But do you remember any of this, Jay?
None of that comes to memory.
Well,
it seems pretty made up to me.
You got a single white male right there, my friend.
Yeah, right. And I don't think, Adam, you never came in to buy an iPhone with me ever?
No, because I was Samsung until like a year ago. So and if he was expecting me to, if any of this is true,
right?
I was nowhere near an iPhone at that point, and that's why I would have said, "No, hey man, how's it going?" Because I don't know you,
and I'm not sure. Like,
I'm sure you're cool. Great, nice to meet you.
And plus, Tomko doesn't live in Tampa.
That's true.
So I don't know why I would go into a place with Tomko and say
we are blowing holes in this story. Is what's happening here.
And I'd never bought an iPhone in Orlando, so where TNA Impact was taped at the time.
Whoa.
Said, so I think there's a lot of holes in this guy's story. And you know what? Here's the thing. Even if it did happen and he stole a shirt from a little girl, he deserved everything he got, in my opinion.
Exactly. He's a prick hole.
Yeah.
He is the hole in the head of a cock.
Yeah.
If that's the case. Do you think there's any truth to the slander of John Travolta's wife?
I don't know. Does John Travolta live in Tampa? Or does he just work at all the Apple stores? Like, does he go out to LA and work at the Apple store there? Or
he's a roaming Apple employee.
Yeah.
Do you think he still works at Apple?
He's an Apple voyeur.
He's an Apple journeyman.
Yeah.
I don't know, Bert. That's that was directed toward you. I'm just over here probably doing the same thing that I may have done going into the Apple store with you that day. I was just hanging out, and you decided you had to go to Apple, and I was like, hey, and this dude assumed that he was going to be my tech guru too, but I'm techless.
I'm pretty sure none of that happened.
All right.
So,
single white male, call us back.
All right. That's the way.
So, that'll teach us to dip into that.
Yeah. We don't listen to voicemails anymore.
Well, no, I think it's good because we had Vincent, and I like being able to answer some questions to aspiring folks getting into the industry, no matter what industry that is. We might have some tidbits on other industries too. Tidbit, back to Timbits again. Oh man, I want a Timbit so bad.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta contribute to my dad bod. Tag teams, Bird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's time.
Oh wait, one more thing for the Apple guy. I'm just saying this. Maybe go.
Oh, now you're getting hot.
Yeah.
Now you're getting hot. Now
let me finish.
Wait, before you go there. Wait. But I know you got it all queued up and you're ready to go and you're ready to smash his head like a T-ball.
No, I'm not ready to do anything like that. I just want to say this. Maybe go after yourself. There's an app for that. Now, let's go talk about some tag teams.
I still don't know what that meant.
Mega Matt does.
So, Birdman, I remember when I was starting out with WWF, I wish I knew where I could get a proper mortgage because I was in over my head. I didn't know what I was doing. And then suddenly here I am. I'm owning a house with a mortgage and I didn't like the rates.
Oh, man, from your lips to God's ears. We had no clue what we were doing, but here's the thing. Did you know that depending on where you get your mortgage, you could save $20,000 or more? But 80% of people only get one mortgage offer. And if you just go to your bank, chances are you'll get ripped off, screwed over, whatever it is. Lending Tree doesn't want that to happen.
So here's the thing. The average Lending Tree customer can save 20,000 smackaroos. That's $20,000 in case you didn't know over the life of their loan. That's average, dude. Half of the customers could save even more.
Whether you're looking for a new mortgage, refinance, or home equity loan, Lending Tree is the only place where you get up to 5 real offers from America's top lenders and can compare side by side for free. And it only takes 3 minutes. That's not much time, Edge. That's not.
No, that's your 3-minute warning right there. It's like shopping for flights online, only you're shopping for the best mortgage offers for you.
Ooh, rates always go up and down, but regardless of what is happening with the rates, you can always get the right offer for you with LendingTree.com.
Find out how much you can save today. That's today at LendingTree.com/awesomeness.
That's LendingTree.com/awesomeness.
LendingTree.com/awesomeness. I'm just going to keep saying it.
Just keep saying it. Get it out there, man. Get it out of your mouth.
Awesomeness.
Yes, LendingTree, LLC, NMLS number 1136. Terms and conditions apply.
You're listening to E&C's Pod of Awesomeness.
This episode is about tag team wrestling, which I know is very near and dear to your heart, to my heart, to many hearts out there. I'm sure there's a lot of cockles, a lot of ventricles. That's part of a heart, right?
Yeah, it would also probably be near and dear to the Heart Foundation.
Oh.
See what I did there?
Yeah, yep. One of the greatest tag teams of all time, which I think is a good place to start this week. It's about tag teams from the past, the lore and the history of tag team wrestling.
Right. From like...
I mean, that... it's interesting. You know, for me growing up as a fan, there were certain people that drew me to the industry. You know, Hulk Hogan and just Randy Savage, larger-than-life characters. But then as I started to watch and I started to delve more into what this whole thing was, tag team wrestling really it pulled me in, and it drew me because, and I know it's the same for you, Jay. When we were, new fans, you had this influx of tag teams, with the British Bulldogs and the Rockers and the Brainbusters and Demolition and the Road Warriors and the Powers of Pain and the Heart Foundation and the Nasty Boys. And I mean, you basically had an entire roster just for tag teams.
Right. And I mean, even before that, like my earliest memories are of Nikolai Volkov and the Iron Sheik feuding with the U.S. Express, Barry Windham and Mike Rotundo, and or Brutus Beefcake and Greg Valentine.
That was an interesting tag team.
That's when I really started, paying attention to tag team wrestling. I remember the U.S. Express, I think, were the first team that really kind of grabbed my attention. They came out with the silk jackets, the all-American-looking guys, Barry Windham with the long hair, super lean physique, wasn't overly muscled, but moved so, like, fluently in the ring. And, Rotundo was more of a mat-based kind of wrestler, and they were a little bit different as far as their technique and stuff, but they just meshed well together.
Yeah, I was always a big Wyndham fan. But for me, I think that the tag team that first, kind of blew me away was the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
Just because they looked like such a tag team. They looked similar. And for me, for whatever reason, initially when I thought of tag teams, I thought, okay, they look similar. They look like a team.
Well, not to mention the fact they were kind of ahead of their time as far as the stuff they were doing. The tag team
way
moves,
ahead of their time.
They were like, some of the stuff they were doing, in the 80s were things that you would, if you saw them now, you'd be like, wow, that's really unique. I've never seen something like that before. Like, they were way ahead of their time.
Well, if you just take Dynamite by himself and his matches with Tiger Mask, and the things they did, the risks they took, the moves they did, the spots they did,
right,
way ahead, and really the template for the style of today, and when you see Ricochet and Will Ospreay, that's where all of that started, really, is with those two doing that, which of course then segues into the Bulldogs and what they were doing. And, even just a fireman's carry, hop up on the back of the opponent into a flying headbutt.
Yeah, hop off the
Dynamite
top rope.
snap suplexes, and then Davey Boy's, verticals. They did similar things, but they added their own twist to it.
Right, and there was still that dimension, too, with them where, even though Davey Boy was moved really well, he was still the power guy of the team. He was the bigger of the two, so he was kind of the base, whereas Dynamite would kind of come off with all the flying moves, like you said. He would, Davey Boy would fireman's carry, Dynamite would go up to the top rope, jump off 2 feet off the back into a diving headbutt, and that was just like, what just happened, And, Dynamite was just, he was Dynamite. He was so lightning fast, and Davey, just like with his press slams, with his verticals, it was a great compliment to each other, the power and the speed.
And, as a kid, as I was about to say, like the ring gear was big to me. So the fact that they had these cool matching red, white, and blue boots, and they had the little bulldog on the back of their trunks, and then they both wore those like athletic socks, those white athletic socks. I don't know. Just things like that really struck a chord with me as a kid.
Well, I know me too, because remember we rocked that for a little bit when we teamed. When we were wrestling in Japan, you and I, we'll touch on that later, but we pulled our socks up out of our boots because of that.
Yeah, I didn't go with the stripes. But,
no, it was solid.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
We'll get to that. But, yeah, and then even, I like the matching gear too. To me, that said tag team. And, but like when they had the Union Jack on the ass of their tights, I thought that was really cool.
Yes.
I just thought it was, and they wore the kind of solid color, like either the blue or the red short tights over the white long tights, and then had the white, red and blue boots. I just thought it all looked sharp and matched, and they, started to wear the capes with the Union Jack on them, and, they had the...
Well, that always reminded me of the Who, and I'm a Who fan, so I thought that was pretty cool.
Who?
But the Bulldogs, for me, were the road into tag team, and that's when the floodgates opened, because then you start delving into the history before them, and you start looking at the NWA, and you start looking, at teams like the Midnight Express and, Minnesota Wrecking Crew, and then you go further back, and you got, Stevens and Patterson, and Stevens and Bockwinkel, and there's, even Bruiser and Crusher in terms of drawing, in terms of reactions. If you go back and watch some of that AWA stuff, I mean, those crowds were insane.
Yeah, I'm like going back to Midnight Express even. I remember like we didn't get NWA where we were growing up in Canada, so we saw these guys in magazines when we were. You and I were both avid wrestling magazine collectors, so we knew everything that was going on in different promotions, NWA, AWA, all the stuff that was going on down in the South, Florida, even out west, Portland, like all these things. We were aware of everybody that was wrestling in different territories at the time, even though we didn't see them on television. And my grandparents lived in Philadelphia, so I would go down there a couple times a year and visit, and I was blown away because they got these shows on television. So I would bring a blank VCR tape and I would tape these and I would bring them back and I would show you. And like these guys are already superstars to us because we saw them in magazines. But I remember finally seeing the Midnight Express actually wrestle. And, you know, they were wrestling the Road Warriors and guys like that. And it was just such a different feel from what WWF was doing at the time that it was great to get exposed to that.
It was a different style. I think it was also, too, and as strange as this sounds, that it was filmed differently.
Right.
So NWA, it felt grittier. It felt closer. It felt closer to how they film SmackDown now. The lights were lower. It just it felt like it was
a little more intimate.
More personal.
Right.
But in doing so, it didn't seem as big. It didn't
Right.
seem as big as WWF, so that's why, I would still go back and go, those teams are great, but man, the Bulldogs and the Hart Foundation, and
Right.
those were the teams that really, really, did it for me. But I always wanted to see how teams would do if they came to the WWF
Right.
from Japan, from the NWA. So when you had teams like, Tully and Arn come, I was really intrigued to see what was going to happen because I knew they were good.
Yeah, they were
but
amazing.
just to see that different mix instead of them against the Road Warriors again or against the Rock and Roll Express again, let's see how they do with the Hart Foundation or the Rockers. And that for me, I remember that being really big and begrudgingly, because at that point I didn't like them, admitting that they were great.
Yeah, and I remember the first time seeing like the Rockers. That was almost like a dream match to us too. Remember we used to when we were kids, we would have like this. We'd stole like a notebook from school. And
I didn't steal anything. You did it.
We borrowed it, and but we would write dream matches in this book. Remember, and then we would go back to my place and we would try to act out some of these matches. And we had a list for tag teams, for world champions, for intercontinental champions, U.S. champions, and we would try to make these matches we never thought we would see happen. And one of those was probably Tully and Arn against the Rockers, and then it ended up happening. And I just remember those matches being great.
Well, it was Tully and Arn against the Midnight Rockers at that point, because that was AWA and NWA. And then you have the Rockers come to WWF and then eventually Tully and Arn. But I do remember that, and I do remember reenacting these things and trying for each wrestler to incorporate like their movement. So if I was Arn Anderson, I would try and punch like Arn.
Right.
And if I were Shawn Michaels, I would try and punch like Shawn Michaels.
And you would try to bump like Tully?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I really bumped, but
No, I loved watching Tully sell. I thought he was amazing.
Yeah.
When he used to do that stagger back and then you do that little trip fall through the middle of the bottom rope, just looked super real to me. And I just remember like, man, this guy's really hurt.
Yeah, they were they were amazing. They really were one of my favorite tag teams, especially now. Having been inside the industry for as long as we both have, you realize just how good they were and the ability that they had to have a good match with anyone. And that's really the key, whether it's singles or tag team. It's interesting. Some people, I think, it may be inside the industry, getting into the industry, they want to be, a singles wrestler because there's more glory, there's whatever it is. But in terms of putting a match together and the limitations that you have with the singles that you don't have with a tag team, there's 4 people. If you have people at ringside, there's so many different scenarios that you can create with tag team wrestling. And that was one of the things I always loved about it. 2 people just can't do what 4 people can.
No, and I mean, and also like the way that you can build up drama, right? So it's when one person's down, the babyface is in the ring, He's been beat up. He's been isolated in the opponent's corner, being beat down, trying to make that tag, stretching for it, reaching for it. And then there's that drama, you know, on the babyface side, the good guy side, when he's reaching for that tag, almost getting it, you know, the guy gets pulled back into the middle of the ring, and he's just chomping at the bit to get in there and to help his partner. There's nothing he can do, and just building that drama, and you can see the emotion. The guy's even working on the apron. People don't realize that even when you're not in the ring, you're still working. You're still involved in the match, and you're an important part of the match because you're helping to sell the drama.
You got to work the apron.
Yeah. And,
you know, there's so many, you know, we're never going to mention all the teams that, you know, from the past, whether it's, you know, even the Graham brothers, the Samoans, through the 60s and 70s,
Valiants,
and then in the 80s with the, you know, the Rock and Roll Express, and just so many great tag teams over the years. Right. The Steiner brothers, man, I was such a huge Steiner brothers fan. Yeah,
I love the Steiner brothers too. And I remember
they really changed the game for a little while there. They were just doing things that I hadn't seen a tag team do before. And then you'd see them get in there with guys like, you know, Hase when they'd go to Japan, and just some of the suplexes they were throwing. And then, you know, you get them in there with, I remember like a super match was the Steiners against Sting and Luger. And having no idea what was going to happen during that match, I think it was a super brawl. And it was just a great match. So many good tag teams, man.
Well, I remember
it's not even fair.
Well, I mean, the thing about the Steiner brothers and what set them apart and what really made people kind of stand up and take notice of them, I think, was the fact that they were like the Road Warriors. They were brutal like the Road Warriors. They'd beat you up like the Road Warriors, but they could also wrestle. And that's not a knock against the Road Warriors. They were what they were. They were street fighters. They went in, they beat you up, and they were brutal, and they did it in short fashion most of the time, and that's what people liked about them. But the Steiners were brutal in the same sense, but they punished you for a long amount of time, hit you with everything in the book, and then beat you.
Yeah. And they broke the mold there a little bit. 4 teams like an American Alpha, and who are very similar in style, I think. But again, that's further on down the road,
right
there, Jay.
Right.
So don't get ahead of yourself, even though it was me that did it.
Yeah.
Brother tag teams, Briscoes, the Funks,
the
Von Erichs, Harlem Heat,
the Dudley Boys.
And another. Say what?
The Dudley Boys.
The Dudley Boys. Yeah.
The Hardys.
Hardys. Yeah.
Edge and Christian.
Only for about 5 years.
Right.
And then we weren't brothers.
Yeah. So.
But then I think we were again for maybe like 2 weeks.
Right. But then we weren't.
But then we weren't again. I didn't write it.
No.
And another interesting take on tag team wrestling, Freebirds.
Right. They were the first ones.
Three-man team.
Yeah, 6-man team, and they, all had their little part that they played. Michael Hayes was kind of like the captain. He was the cool guy, the captain. He was the mouthpiece. He kind of got the heat verbally for the team. Gordy was the ass kicker, came in, beat people up, and Buddy was kind of like the thorn in the side that kind of came in and took the bullet for his guys until
he was the bumper.
He was the bumper. He took the bullet until it was time to for the other two to come in and clean up.
Yeah, and that led to Demolition eventually doing that.
Right.
And a couple of decades later, the New Day, and I think they're known for it, and I think everybody realizes how much they broke down, walls with their ideas. Whether they were the first to come to the ring with music, I think they were, but I'm not completely positive.
Well, they were definitely one of them.
Yeah, and just the feel when they would come to the ring, it's like, okay, something is going to happen, and it was happening in tag team. So it wasn't just Kerry Von Erich against Ric Flair. It was the Von Erichs against the Freebirds and the bedlam that you felt when that was going to happen. It was all based around a team.
Right. And if you look back at the history of world-class championship wrestling at the time, based in Dallas, it was never as hot as it was when the Freebirds were there in their prime, and selling out Texas Stadium, and largely due to the fact that the heat that the Freebirds had and the rivalry they had with the hometown boys, the Von Erichs.
Now, I'm going to switch gears here. Who would be your favorite tag team?
My favorite
from
tag
that
team?
era, let's say. Let's say from the era of when we were kids and just getting into wrestling.
I think looking back, like I said, my favorite team, the ones that first grabbed a hold of me were the U.S. Express. But I think my overall favorite tag team, I think, was probably the British Bulldogs.
Really?
Yeah.
Was not expecting that.
No?
No.
Why?
No, you kind of threw me off a little bit.
Huh.
Yeah.
Who's you?
Because they were the door for me. But I might have to go Rockers.
Yeah? No, I can see that because you were very much and still are a big Shawn Michaels fan. So
yeah,
I mean, and I am as well. But I mean, I remember you had a Rockers T-shirt. You were all about the Rockers. So very much you were into music. You were into that whole type of. You dressed like that. You had hair like they had. Hair like Shawn Michaels. You had a sweet mullet.
I think you know what though. I think if if you were to ask most people, they would say my mullet was better than Shawn Michaels.
It may have been. But here's the thing, is that maybe I'm not picking the Rockers because I had mullet envy. So, because I couldn't grow a sick mullet. And not only could I not grow when I wasn't allowed to grow a sick mullet. So, I had this dorky haircut, just like a bowl cut. So, yeah. I couldn't identify with the Rockers.
Now, was the mullet, it was like a sign of evil in your household? Like, was it a sign of listening to like Ozzy Osbourne and Iron Maiden, or was it just? It was. I just don't want to talk about it. I'm still scarred. Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. Well, because if it makes you feel any better, looking back, mullets were evil. They should never have been. They were. They really were. There was nothing good about the mullet. Should not have been unleashed on humanity.
It's a gateway haircut.
Yeah, it's a gateway to grunge.
Yeah.
All right, so we've talked about tag teams from the past. We've both said who our favorite tag teams were.
Right.
And I still don't think we did justice to a lot of teams from the past. So for those teams that may be listening, or for people who are fans of those teams, we apologize. But there's just not enough time.
No, we can touch on part 2 of tag teams.
Part 2 tag teams, yeah. We could have part 5.
Yeah,
of
we
tag
could just
teams.
do a strictly tag team podcast, which all we do is talk about tag teams.
Yeah, all the time. Is that what you're saying, or just
tag teams all the time?
That seems excessive.
Yeah.
That's what I'm here for, Jay, is to pull you back in, to rein you in. You're a mess, and I got to pull you back sometimes. Get your shit together, man.
I'm embarrassing myself. I'm sorry.
So if you then you look at where tag teams went from there, and the kind of the place on the card of tag teams.
Right.
It was important to the cards during the 80s. I don't know if tag team wrestling was ever perceived in kind of one of the main slots of the show, which is a shame with all those talented tag teams.
Right.
But you had the Hulk Hogan's and the Macho Man's and the Ric Flairs, so it was going to be hard to crack that nut. To have a tag team, at the top of the card, even though there was all these amazing teams.
And I remember it being exciting at the time. I remember seeing Demolition when they came in, and they were they were an off-take of the Road Warriors, what made you think that, they couldn't get the Road Warriors. So, we create our own Road Warriors. And arguably, they went on to have a really, maybe not as good of a career as a tag team as the Road Warriors, but they did really well in WWE and became one of the cornerstone established teams of the time.
Man, I love me some Demolition. They were the cornerstone for a long time.
I was actually glad that they had a team like Demolition instead of the Road Warriors. I thought it was super cool. And I thought, one day it's going to be one of those dream matches. We're going to see Demolition against the Road Warriors.
Well, here comes the axe and here comes the smasher. Rick Derringer sang that song. Did you know that?
Here comes the axe and here comes the smasher. The Demolition.
That's where it gets foggy for me.
Disaster. Pain and destruction.
Paint? Is it paint and destruction?
No, I think it's
pain and destruction.
I think it's pain and destruction.
That makes more sense.
Dun, 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 dun,
it was the 80s, though, so it didn't have to make sense. But From there,
Search
it really
and
seemed
destroy
like
you. Run and we'll find you. There's nowhere to hide. The demos will get you.
the demos will get you.
Yeah.
That was a reach.
Yeah.
The demos. But so from there through the 90s, to me anyway, it seemed like tag team wrestling kind of hit a lull.
It did. Yeah.
And through no fault of the teams through the 90s, it's not a knock on them. It just seems like this business is so cyclical in terms of popularity, overall popularity. But even within the industry itself, it seems tag team wrestling in particular really goes in waves.
Right, and it seemed like too at that time it was turning. There was a little bit of lull, I think, in the business overall, kind of towards the early to mid '90s, and I think that the tag team scene kind of suffered because of that. I mean, you had a couple teams that were there, like the Smoking Guns. I remember being there, the Body Donnas. Teams that may not have had like the kind of the glory of the past era. So it was kind of like a lull, I think, from the business as a whole. And that's not a knock against those teams. It's just the scene wasn't as strong. You didn't have as big of a talent pool to kind of pull from to kind of have set teams and have a roster of singles superstars.
The team I do remember from that era was Hollywood Blondes.
Yeah.
Pillman and Austin.
Right.
They were the ones to me that stood out and really, I know they were just doing different things. When they came on the screen, I was like, okay, what are they going to do? I remember the Flair for the gold, and they started saying Flair for the old and Geritol on ice, and I was like, oh man, even at that point, I knew that was messed up.
Right. Well, it seemed too that they were like, destined to be big single stars, and then maybe when they felt they were on their way, got kind of put together kind of as a makeshift team. Neither guy was from Hollywood, but like, hey, you guys are now the Hollywood Blondes, and like, okay, we'll be the Hollywood Blondes. And they just like kind of went at it with a chip on their shoulder and just did stuff to entertain themselves, and in turn became this great thing.
Well, a huge testament to them to commit to it.
Right.
Because when you have two established singles wrestlers come together, I don't know, maybe halfway into their career, that could be a tough pill to swallow and be seen as a step back. But they didn't take it that way.
No.
And what's interesting, I don't think the Blondes were around that long.
No, they weren't.
They weren't together that long, but they made a really huge impact. I know on our era, and then even the next era after that. So I think it says a lot about the limited time they were together, the impact they made.
Well, I think that you knew also that both guys were equal parts, were both destined to be great. And I think that if Pillman hadn't ultimately,
well, they already were great.
Right, but I mean that they were even going to go higher. Like, yeah. I think that they were both great, and I think they were perceived as being great, but I don't think they were at the level as far as being ingrained in the main event scene yet.
Well, I mean, especially where Austin got to,
right,
obviously.
Right, and I'm not sure that in WCW they saw that, even though fans saw it. So, it was. I think it was one of those things where they kind of just used it as a springboard to take themselves higher for the inevitable split, and they were going to go their separate ways. Because I remember when Pillman left and went to WWE after that, I mean, for the short time he was there before he unfortunately passed, I mean, he was doing some crazy, amazing things.
Around that time, too, you had a lot of teams in ECW. You had the Gangstas, I think, the Eliminators, eventually the Dudleys, you had Public Enemy. But ECW, obviously, more of a cult following.
Right.
And not seen on kind of a mainstream level until you get to, I don't know, maybe the mid to starting into the late 90s, and a lot of those teams went to WCW.
Right.
But I don't think tag team wrestling was ever seen in terms of main event status there either.
No, and then I remember seeing in Japan too. I mean, set teams. You had Terry Gordy and Dr. Dust, Steve Williams together over there that were just an amazing team, and they were kind of the main team over there. And I remember the matches they had with the Steiner brothers over there too were some pretty intense matches and pretty hard hitting. And I just remember the crowd just being like, "What are we seeing?" And I remember we used to get tapes of that stuff, and we would watch it, especially when we were breaking in. We would try to study as much stuff from Japan and things like that too. But they were doing some pretty big things as far as tag teams go over there at the time too, with teams like that.
Well, they had some matches with WCW too. I remember being
right.
Really hard hitting. I was like, oh man, these guys are just beating the piss out of each other. I think Hanson and Gordy were also a team over in Japan.
They were? Yeah, I think they were too. Yep.
Yeah.
And the
a hell of a team, or was.
Yeah, and then, well, who can forget the Machines also? I mean, they were pretty...
Man, I still don't know who they were.
No, who was it?
They blazed bright.
Yeah.
Like a sunset.
Yeah.
Just for those couple of years.
I know.
Interesting.
One
might think they axed their way through the competition and went on to more giant things.
Right.
And they did there.
Yeah. And I bet if they had to do it again, they would ask for a mulligan.
That was brutal.
Yeah.
On both of our parts.
Yeah.
That was horrible.
Yeah.
We're the only two people laughing at that. Right?
I know, because we're the ones that get it. So, but
no, other people may get it. They just wouldn't think it's funny.
Yeah.
We're not that funny, Jay.
We aren't?
I think we are to each other.
All right. Well, that makes sense of why we're paying to have a podcast instead of getting paid to do it.
You're paying?
You're not? All right.
Yeah. So the 90s felt like a bit of a downtrend, I guess, in terms of tag team wrestling.
I mean, yeah, it was a little bit of a downtime, but then again, it might not necessarily have been the tag team's fault at that point either, because it was very much in the character-driven era instead of more of a reality-based era or pure wrestling era before it. Like you had tag teams like the Godwins, like the Body Donnas, more character-based stuff that's really hard to become, like legendary, taken seriously teams when, you're kind of saddled with, I don't want to say saddled, but you're out there.
You can say saddled.
Yeah,
you can say saddled because if you look at the Godwins, they were the Texas Hangmen, and they were great,
right?
And they were still really good, solid workers as the Godwins. But you're a hog farmer,
right? So your day job is you're a hog farmer, and then you come you're a part-time wrestler, and that's now the tag team champions. And I mean, it's hard to take super serious when that's the case.
Yeah, and like you said, no fault of their own. It's just what you get put with. What are you going to do with that? There's only so much you can do with that.
Yeah.
What can you do as a body Donna, really?
Right.
You're an infomercial guy? Is that supposed to be your gimmick?
Yeah. You've done a couple push-ups, a couple sit-ups, done a couple curls with an
and
elastic
I don't
band.
know if you know this, but I don't think Dr. Tom does push-ups or sit-ups.
No, maybe that.
I love you, Tom. Just in case you're listening, I love you.
Although I did like the Heavenly Bodies.
You know what? The Body Donnas were a great tag team.
Yeah.
They just, the bleach blonde hair and all that. It was a shitty gimmick. Let's face it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said,
it's hard.
It's hard to, like I said, be seen as legit tag team champions or this team that's on the cusp of doing something super great when you've seen your act. Once you've seen it, you see them do a couple sit-ups, couple push-ups, wipe their brow with a towel. You've seen the act.
Well, and that's why I say that through the mid-90s, it wasn't focused on.
No.
And then...
Well, it was geared to a different audience, right? It was geared to a younger audience at the time. So the attention span, obviously, with a younger audience isn't what it is to an older audience who wants to see a little more substance behind the characters.
Yeah, it feels like to me tag team wrestling can always be an important part of the show because if you have a short attention span as a kid, there's 4 people, so there's more action.
Right.
That's big to me.
So we were, fortunate enough to come in, when the winds of change were kind of blowing. When it was the Monday Night Wars were in full swing, WCW Nitro versus WWF Raw at the time, and it started to take a more reality-based approach to the shows, more, seeing how close you could get to the edge without going over. And that seemed to be, it's more the, I don't want to say Jerry Springer, but that type of audience where it was kind of the in-your-face, shocking, what can we do this week to shock the audience type of effect that you were going for. And it was kind of going more towards that.
I'm still stuck on Winds of Change because now all I have is the Scorpions in my hand.
Sorry.
That's all right. I mean, underrated band, so I'll accept it. But, now I'm thinking of a song about the Berlin Wall. So the tag team wrestling,
right?
Like you said, late 90s, Attitude Era, Nitro versus Raw. It was kind of a perfect storm, wasn't it? I mean, it was a time where it was lightning in a bottle.
Right, and people were flipping the channels back and forth. Nobody was stuck on one particular show, and they were, you never knew at that time too, because it was kind of at the era where like people weren't really signing exclusive contracts at the time, so you could literally be on Raw one night and the very next week be on Nitro. So that was things like that were happening, and like Rick Rude was on Raw on the same night that he was on Nitro, like things like that, just crazy stuff. Yeah, it was happening. So it was a really kind of a Wild West feel to it at the time, where what is going to happen, who's going to show up on what show, and people were getting, it was water cooler talk. People were talking about these shows, and it started to kind of bring back the more reality based, real people that people could identify with, rather than cartoon characters that people were like,
Well, in terms of tag team, I think that that time laid the groundwork, and also set the plate for tag teams to be able to move in and do something. But you still had to have the right combination of teams, because if you didn't have the teams, then it doesn't matter what this kind of the mood of the industry is. It's just not going to work.
Right.
And we were lucky enough to be a part of it. The Hardy Boys were lucky enough to be a part of it. The Dudleys, and then you go further beyond that, and you had teams like APA and Too Cool and Right to Censor and TNA. There became, again, like in the early to mid 80s, there was a roster of tag teams.
Well, not only that, I think that, and like you said, even before that, before they were just kind of throwing guys together, so to speak, right? And two guys that kind of got thrown together were Road Dogg and Billy Gunn, and they became the New Age Outlaws.
Yes.
And I think they were the ones that kind of started the whole renaissance of actual tag teams. They didn't dress the same. They didn't, wrestle the same. But somehow, together as a combination, they worked. And they had this attitude. The one guy talked. The one guy had the amazing body. And they were just different enough that it worked. And plus, they were going out saying different things, doing different things. When they pushed Terry Funk and Chainsaw Charlie and Cactus Jack off the Raw stage in the dumpster, they were made. They were made that night. And, not to go along with the shtick with the, on the microphone, the, you didn't know? The crowd was instantly, had something that they could grab onto, and they could be a part of the act.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You really are. They came along right before all of those teams and started to make tag team wrestling relevant again.
Right, it was almost like they had to build up teams around them, because they were starting to get so over as a team. Plus, they got so over together, they put them in DX, which was the hottest act in wrestling at the time, and the most hated. So they got themselves so over just on the side of that. They're like, well, let's pull them in and put them in this group, and kind of became like the first cool stable that we'd seen in years.
And as happens with any successful tag team, at some point, they want to split them up,
right,
and see how they do on their own, which was eventually what happened to the Outlaws,
right.
But before
they almost had to build up a roster around them too, because like, we have a real tag team here, a tag team that people care about. So they almost had to build a roster kind of around them and get serious about it starting then. Don't you agree?
Well, that's what I just said.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh.
Good to see you're listening.
Well, who did you say?
I said they set the table.
Oh.
They really did set the plate for our era of teams to come in.
Yeah, you're right. They did set the table. And I'm sorry I didn't listen to you earlier. Maybe
That's okay, Jay.
I just wanted to sound smarter for once.
But so you have the Outlaws. They usher in kind of the beginning of a tag team scene again, or one that at least is taken notice of, because they're moving merchandise, they're moving T-shirts, they have catchphrases, they get, like you said, put into the hottest stable in the industry, arguably between NWO and DX.
Right.
And so now what do? They need people to work, and you have the Hardys and the Dudleys and us and APA and this new insurgent tag team scene.
Well, yeah. Well, not to mention the fact that with the Monday Night Wars happening, we were losing a lot of established stars to WCW that were going over there for, they were going over there. It was honestly, it was probably a lighter work schedule for good money. So
more money.
So a lot of them were going over to do that. So, WWE's response to that was, we'll make new stars, which was great for us.
Yeah, it really was. I said before, it was the perfect storm in that we were going to be given an opportunity as a team. And I know we had the mentality, the Dudleys, the Hardys, and the other teams as well. But I think those are the three that when you think of where tag team wrestling went through that era, it's those three teams you think of.
Right.
And we all had the mentality of, we can push this to the main event, or as close as we're ever going to get tag team wrestling.
Well, I think
that was our mentality, is to try to get it there.
Right, and there's no secret to anybody either that we've talked about it in the past, that you had The Rock, Steve Austin, Triple H, Mick Foley, Kane, The Undertaker, all at the top of the card, and we weren't getting anywhere near that at that point with that star power at once. So we had to carve out our own niche on the show, figure out how are we going to get on this show every single week, be an important part of the show, and a spotlighted segment, be on every pay-per-view, get merchandise, all these sorts of things. And, I was brought in as Gangrel's underling to feud with you. They ended up putting you together with us, and we formed the Brood, this same thing, kind of like a vampire version of the Freebirds. And we kind of set out from there.
Yeah, and I think again, lightning in a bottle, all of this happening at the same time as the Hardys, and then eventually the Dudleys coming over.
Right.
It was six people that all had the same mentality, same goal, and to try and make those matches and tag team wrestling as relevant as we could. And in our minds, let's try and make it as relevant as the Austin match, as the the Rock match. And obviously, we're not going to close WrestleMania, but I think we got as close as you could as a tag team, a series of tag teams and tag team matches.
I think
to try and make them as much of a water cooler talk, as you mentioned before, as the other matches. Like, okay, if they're going to talk about four things around the water cooler, they're going to talk about Austin, they're going to talk about Rock. Hopefully, they're going to talk about, did you see that TLC match?
Yeah, we're not going to main event, but we're going to steal the show. That was the mentality.
It was a mentality. It's arguable whether we did every time, but that was the mentality.
Yeah. And, I think too, like when we were setting out and we were trying to establish ourselves, and I think we all wanted to and I think us growing up as kids, and from a personal standpoint, we'd sit in the backyard and we'd talk about how we were going to get to WWE and we were going to be tag team champions. And I think once we got there, we're like, oh, we're here. We're doing stuff. We're doing good stuff. This is the time we have to become tag team champions. It kind of seemed like it was coming full circle at that point, and the Dudleys and the Hardys were there to help us along the way, because we couldn't have done it without that.
No. I mean, you needed all of those elements, and you needed the APAs and the Too Cools,
right,
and all of those teams to supplement, so that it wasn't just the same three teams all the time. You needed the APA to come in as ass kickers, and Ron Simmons to hit those spine busters, and John to hit those clotheslines, and Too Cool to be such an entertaining unit. And those are just the ones, let alone the Hollies and so many teams outside of that, all the way to like Al Snow and Blackman.
Right.
And there was a lot of teams then. I even remember SummerSlam one year, and this was kind of our first tap dance into what we could do with the Hardys. It was like an elimination match, and the teams were like Midian and Viscera,
right,
and APA and the Hollies and us and the Hardys, and that's a diverse bunch right there.
Right.
But I think the nucleus of it was Hardys, Dudleys, us, and but as happened with the Outlaws, then of course they want to split us up.
I remember we were on this overseas flight, and I remember I was having a glass of wine with Steve Austin on this flight, and he said to me, asked me what I thought, and if they were planning on splitting us up. And I said, they talked about it a few times, and he's like, man, you got to fight that. You got to stay together as long as you can. And I was like, really? Well, what are you thinking? And he said the same thing. He said, look at the top of the card. He said, you guys separate, you're not going to get anywhere near that. You guys the Dudleys, the Hardys, you guys are the teams. And that's going to be the focal point, and it's an important part of the show. Ride that out as long as you can. Build your name, and when the time is right, you will split apart and you will go much further. But you need to stick together for right now.
Well, what's cool about that is it also gave us the opportunity as a tag team to wrestle against The Rock and Undertaker for the tag team titles.
Right.
Against, these two huge single stars who they would put together for storyline purposes and put us in a tag team match. But it was believable because Edge and Christian were a tag team. They were working on the same page. They could beat The Undertaker and The Rock.
Right.
But you wouldn't think at that point in our careers that you could put any one of us in there with them in a singles match and it'd be like, oh, okay, this is, just to further that single star along. But at that point, they beat us for the tag team titles. A week later, we took them back.
Right.
And in being involved and brushing up with those guys as a tag team, that just gave us, a main event rub as a tag team so that when we eventually did split, we had built some credibility.
And the confidence that we could get in there and hang with those guys.
Yeah.
Because we did. And, and then it's inevitable. Every tag team is going to split up. And like for you and I, they were talking about it pretty much from day one. They talked about splitting us up, and we had ended up having a longer run, I think, than either of us ever expected. But even us, we weren't together as long as people assumed that we were. But it's inevitable. Every tag team is going to split up. Even if they get back together at some point, they're going to split up, and they're going to go their separate ways.
Yeah.
And you and I had many different tag team partners after each other.
Well, and you think about that. When you split off, you teamed with, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but you won the tag team titles with Lance Storm, with Chris Jericho,
yep,
with, there's somebody else, isn't there?
Is there?
I don't know.
I don't think I did. I think that's it.
Is that, yeah?
Yeah.
And in my career, I teamed with Chris Jericho.
Right.
So he is the only person to team with both of us for tag team title wins.
That's pretty impressive.
A little bit of trivia there. That would have been a fun Freebirds.
Yeah, it would have been. And the thing is, too, with Chris, I always found with Chris, too, that I don't think that anybody can replicate the chemistry that you and I had, but he was definitely the closest that I had to you and I.
Yeah, in terms of style and even just psychology and mindset, I think, and just even personality, similar interest and things like that.
And we were friends outside the ring, which made it easier. So, and we trusted each other 100% when we were putting the matches together. And like, even if one guy wasn't there, or you had to kind of put stuff together on your own, that trust factor was there too, which is important.
Yeah, you'd be on the same page. And that's one of, like, when I look back, one of the few regrets that I have, because I try not to look back or whatever, but my team with Chris never got off the ground because I got injured like 2 weeks after we won the tag team championships. But we had, it was going to be like a year-long program ending with DX and a TLC match, and I really wanted to try and take that tag team back to like the, Stevens and Patterson type of vibe, but we just never got the opportunity to. So, but I teamed with Chris, I teamed with Rey Mysterio, and that was a lot of fun, man, because, Rey's just, what do you say about Rey? He truly is one of a kind. Like, he is the wrestling industry Spider-Man. He is CGI without CGI. And to team with, I could sit there and throw on the thinking cap and come up with just the craziest combinations of things to do, because I knew if I was a base for him, I could flip him into anything.
Well, not only that, the sympathy that he could garner in the ring when he was selling and when he was getting, when somebody had heat on him was, people felt sorry for him. Not in the sense that he was, this little wimp, but he was always the underdog in the fight every time.
Well, he's 5'4", so he's tough, but there's going to be that sympathy, especially when, I think the culmination initially to our team was we worked Angle and Benoit in the SmackDown Tag Team Tournament Finals, and I remember it was in Little Rock, Arkansas, and there was some kind of fan that was going off in the arena, and you couldn't hear the crowd. Wow. It was just because it was getting the pyro out, and I remember thinking, damn it, that fan is killing like the just what we had rolling, because you could feel that something special was happening, but that fan was killing me, and eventually it went off. But I remember thinking after the match, I was like, that felt pretty good. And, I've had a lot of people tell me that's one of their favorite tag team matches ever.
Yeah, no, it was a great match. And I remember from a personal standpoint, on my end, when we split up, we both went on singles. We battled a little bit for the Intercontinental Championship back and forth, but I really had a hard time finding my way as a singles guy when we came out of the team, because I thought like a tag team wrestler, because we teamed for so long together. I saw matches, I put matches together thinking like a tag team guy. I hadn't got to that point yet where I was, or had the confidence in myself or my abilities yet to really, structure things just about the match that I was involved in, about how I was going to get, my opponent over, make myself, make everything come full circle to make sense. I didn't have the confidence or the wherewithal yet to get there. So I had a real struggle as a singles guy. And I think that's kind of what led them back to putting me with, and I'll go more in depth on that on another day, because I think it's a really interesting story, especially for up and coming wrestlers. But I think that's what led them to put me back in a tag team with Lance. There was that kind of that comfort. Okay, we know he's a good tag team guy. Let's put him back with Lance, and we became the Un-Americans.
Well, it is interesting because tag team wrestling is a different mindset entirely. But I found that any time I got put back in a tag team, it was just like throwing on an old shirt.
Yeah,
I was like, okay, this is what I did first. I got put with Mysterio. I got put with Benoit. I got put with Hulk Hogan and Randy Orton. And then Jericho. So those were all the people that, I think. So what was that? Jericho, Mysterio, Benoit, Hogan, Randy. I won the tag titles with 5 different partners.
Yeah. Well, the Jericho thing kind of saved me, actually, as a performer, I think, because when we had been doing the Un-Americans thing, and it's hard to go out and portray that. And to me, it was like this angry character that was mad all the time, and that just wasn't me. And you're trying to put everything into it. You're trying to become this character, but you're not this character. And it comes across like that on TV if you don't believe the things that you're saying and you're doing. Yeah. And at one point that we were having some issues with it, and they came up to me and they asked me to cut my hair. And for this, and we were already well into this this portrayal of these characters that we were doing that hated America. And I said no. And that was the first time I'd ever really straight out said no to anything. And I think they were kind of taken back by that. And they're like, well, why not? And I said, people identify me with this long hair. And I feel like the shelf life of these characters is short. I think once it's run its course, it's run its course. And once I change that look, I think it's going to be a shock for people. And I'd rather do it on my own when it really matters for this, rather than with this thing we're doing, which I feel like the shelf life is short. And I said, if that gets me heat, people are mad at me. That's a risk I'm willing to take, but I feel strongly about this.
It was similar to Right to Censor
right.
in terms of shelf life. Like you think back, like I think Val cut his hair off. He might have before, but Stevie Richards cut his hair off. And again, they got a nice little run out of it, but nothing in terms of, a 5-year type of window.
Right. Well, what happened there was, and then we did, and then, Test Andrew had said the same thing. And so they were like, they came to us next week and they're like, okay, if you guys don't want to do it, this is what we're doing. We're going to split you guys up. Regal and Lance are going to go off together as a tag team, and we're not sure what we're going to do with Christian and Test. So I think that there was nothing really in the works for me, and I think things didn't look good for Christian at that point. And then luckily we had Raw in Las Vegas, and they were doing this Raw Roulette, and one of the stipulations was a TLC match, and it was between, I think it was Jericho, Kane, and RVD. And they could pick their own partner, but their partner had to be somebody that had been in a TLC match previously.
Okay.
So Jericho being a heel, I was a heel, he picked me. Rob Van Dam picked Jeff Hardy, and Kane had picked
Hurricane?
Hurricane. And
was Hurricane ever in a TLC?
I guess he must have been.
Was he?
Or maybe it was the other way around. Maybe it was Hurricane picked Kane. Maybe that's what it was.
Was Kane in a TLC at that point?
I don't know. It was one
I think
of those.
we were the only ones that were in a TLC.
Anyway, so that from that it was supposed to be just a one-night thing. But Chris and I had such a good showing in that.
Rapport,
had some good chemistry. And then next week they threw us out there together again as a team. And then literally less than a month later, we were tag team champions. and we went on a really good run there. Had a good feud with Gold Dust and Booker T. We ended up losing titles to them, and then he and I were, until they brought the Intercontinental title was gone for a while, and they brought it back. And I guess I kind of, what we did was I had won the Battle Royal for the Intercontinental Championship, and then I told them that I was going to cut my hair, that this was the moment that I should cut my hair when I won the Intercontinental Championship, and this was the moment. And they agreed, and it actually all worked out in the end. So,
happy story.
Yeah.
Right off into the sunset with your Intercontinental title.
Yeah, but if I wasn't a tag team
and
with
your
Jericho,
short hair.
If I wasn't a tag team with Jericho, I would. I don't know what would have happened.
Chopped off that ponytail and got rid of that weight and just flew off.
Yeah. Look at it.
There it goes.
Yeah.
Yep. There it goes. Back in the road.
Yeah.
I think for me, one of the interesting tag teams was Hogan.
Yeah.
Team with Hogan, because as is pretty well known, he was the first, character that really caused me to see what this whole thing, wrestling, was. And, you never assume getting into the wrestling industry or getting into any industry that you're going to be around this or appear at the same time as your heroes.
Right.
So it was Heyman was writing SmackDown, and I had just finished this program with Jericho, which initially was supposed to go to SummerSlam with Ozzy Osbourne in my corner and Fozzy in his corner. That all got scrapped because they were sending Jericho to Raw, and I remember Chris and I were very upset about that. And they blew off the angle in a cage on SmackDown in Indianapolis, I think. And then after that, I really had no one to work, but I was starting to get some good momentum as a babyface on the show, and it was Heyman who said, well, maybe we should team up with Hogan. And I remember him calling me and saying, we're going to put the tag titles on you and Hogan. And I just remember thinking, what? How does that happen? Like, how do I ever find myself at this point?
But I remember watching that, and I remember watching the backstage vignettes, and not vignettes, but the backstage segments with you guys. And you portrayed it perfectly, because you portrayed it like you were this guy that was in awe. He was your childhood hero, which he was, and it came off as that you couldn't believe you were actually teaming with him. And like you would, when he would leave the room, you'd put his boas and his headband on, and you would do impressions of him, and he would walk in and catch you doing it. Like, that was great stuff.
I used to do that. But what's interesting, if you watch all that stuff back, I'm actually mouthing all the things he's saying.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I was just like, oh, he's saying what you're going to do. And so I would say it. And it really didn't translate well, because you could see, if you're paying attention or if you watch him back now, watch me. I'm mouthing all of Hulk Hogan's lines.
But the funny thing,
because I'm still a Hulkamaniac at that point, going, oh my gosh, what's happening?
Right. Well, from my side, growing up as a Hulkamaniac and tying this whole story together, and going back to Lance and I being Un-Americans, we ended up wrestling you and Hogan on a pay-per-view in Detroit for the tag team championships. Yeah. And I believe Jericho came in and cost you guys the tag team title against us.
Yes.
And for me, this was the first time I ever wrestled against Hogan, my childhood hero. So just standing in the ring and seeing him come out with my best friend and my childhood hero together. Now I'm wrestling both you guys, and I'll never forget when I had him down and I was hitting him, and he gets up to his knees and starts doing the Hulk up, the shake. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe
I know
this
what you're saying.
It's like I'm almost smiling. Like, if you watch it back, I'm smiling on, he's about to kick my ass, and this is the best thing in the world. Like, and he was saying to himself, Hulk up, Hulk up, Hulk up.
Well, that was the thing I was about to mention. Like, I was on the apron selling, and I remember him, convulsing by me. And it was, I don't know if it's just his getting into that mode or whether he's reminding himself or what. But yeah, he's going, Hulk up, Hulk up, Hulk up. I was like, oh my gosh, he's telling himself to Hulk up.
Yeah. And all I know is it was like, I was never more excited to get beat up and feed somebody's comeback than I was in that moment. And I was like, I can't believe this is happening. I'm getting hulked up on. I'm about to get the punches. I'm about to get whipped off, get the clothesline, the boot, the whole deal. This is amazing.
You could always tell the uber wrestling nerds that worked Hogan, because they were always the guys that bumped insanely for him.
Yeah, yeah.
And unless it was Sean, who was just doing it to mock.
Yeah.
But you could always tell the guys that were just like flying all over the place, and you and Lance were two of those.
I remember he showed up and we were wrestling him, and I was like, hey, I have these ideas, and boom, boom, boom. I kind of threw them out to him. He's like, I love wrestling the Canadians. I just show up. I don't have to do anything. They just tell me what to do, brother. All right, let's go out and do it. And it's like, all right, let's go.
Yeah,
so
very laid back.
Yeah.
And I teamed with Benoit. We won the tag titles twice in amidst his storyline of World Heavyweight Champion, and it was kind of a convoluted story. I think we won them from like Batista and Flair, and again, one of those times when tag team wrestling was kind of used as a vehicle for single stars.
Right.
And then eventually won them with Randy Orton, and that was fun because that was at a time when Randy and I were kind of we'd done. Sorry?
Super hated, got real heat when it was in an era where it was hard to get real heat, where people really hated you.
Yeah, but we'd also kind of run our singles course at that point. And, okay, what do you do? So they had talked about putting us together, and we thought, okay, well, we have to make this a proper team as opposed to just two single stars and doing that whole thing. Let's actually have a team name. Let's try and attack it this way and commit to it from the idea of a team. And then another one of those instances where you never think you'll find yourself in this situation, they told us they were going to put the tag team titles on us, and we're going over Ric Flair and Roddy Piper.
That's crazy. I don't even remember
Absolutely
that,
crazy. To think like you're wrestling, again, two of your heroes, and so I'm teaming with Bob Orton's son against Roddy Piper and Ric Flair. Like as a wrestling fan growing up, you can't imagine those scenarios possibly all coming together at the same time. But I really like teaming with Randy, and again, that was one of those. We had more opportunity than Jericho and I had, but that was one that we could have really run with a long time as a team.
Well, talking about this has nothing to do with tag teams, but just they're talking about you can tell the real wrestling fans. I remember the first time I wrestled Shawn Michaels, I was singing his entrance music, "Sexy Boy," and I looked up and I was on the screen singing "Sexy Boy." I was like, oh, I better stop doing that.
It was the same deal with Hogan the night we won the tag team titles. They cut to me, and I guess they did just because of how geeked out I was.
Yeah.
Like, I have a lot of teeth anyway, but it looked like I had like 58 white tombstones in my face. It was just this huge geeky grin. He's coming down to Real American, and it's airing on the 4th of July, and in Boston.
Right.
Yeah, very, very cool parts of both of our careers, I guess.
Yeah, but you're right. That was kind of the time where, again, they started getting out of the set tag teams and more into makeshift guys. Okay, we're not doing it with these two guys. Put them together. Let's make a tag team. And it was just more or less just to get them a spot on the show, to keep them doing something rather than nothing. And then when they found something for them, split them up. Could be no rhyme or reason, whatever. But it was not like a set thing like we had just seen for the past few years, where we kind of got it back to relevance again. And then it started to dip again. And I'm not sure if it was another thing where guys just weren't wanting to team, or if they were just, things were moving so fast they didn't have time to invest in tag teams, or they just didn't see any money drawing power in teams. I'm not sure what it was.
I don't know. You had a few teams that were, teams, but it was, you had Eminem and you had London and Kendrick, and then you eventually had Miz and Morrison, but it was really few and far between where it was tag teams. Again, it was thrown together people, and it really didn't feel like that started to change again until New Day.
Well, I think also that we got lucky too, in a sense that we were given time to develop actual characters, given microphone time. And I'm not sure that, like I said, the landscape was changing again here, and television was moving fast. There was added shows, so there was so much content, which you would think would give more time for guys to develop. But in a weird sense, it was like almost less. It was like the guys that were getting a lot of time were getting more time, and where it should have been maybe the other way. And just maybe these teams like Kendrick and London, they weren't getting, like, they were these exciting guys doing great things, but they weren't getting time to really develop character-wise, which would connect with the audience. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and again, to no fault of
Right.
their own, I think it was just the onus wasn't put on tag team wrestling, and then someone will come through and stumble on something or be given the latitude and the freedom to find something. And I think when it started to change in terms of tag team wrestling was with New Day.
Right.
I think they initially were given this lame gimmick. Because if you think back and you look back to the original New Day stuff, like, I mean, come on, they were expected to be baby faces then?
Right. I think they actually, if I'm not mistaken, that they pitched the idea, but I'm not sure if they pitched it exactly in that manner. But yeah, it and I think from what I understand, Vince saw them strictly as babyface guys, but yeah, that wasn't going to work in this time, this era. No way.
If you look at the transformation of just what they did in terms of, from going how it initially started to this strange, colorful, riding unicorns and, coming out in a box of Bootios,
right,
and just being an extension of themselves. But it really started to put some focus back on tag teams again, because now New Day were in main events on Raw, whether it was 6-man tags or whether it was a tag team match, the New Day against, 2 established single stars. So they were able to, and given the opportunity to, but they knocked it out of the park, to kind of start to bring some focus back on tag team wrestling. And I think once that, again, is proven to the powers that be, when they see, oh, okay, this tag team broke through, and they're moving ratings, and they're moving merchandise and doing all of these things, well, now it opens up their eyes to go, oh, there's other tag teams. There's something to this. It's almost like the industry as a whole forgets that tag team wrestling is awesome.
Right. And it's like, and the thing is, too, to their credit, like, the crowd wasn't reacting the way that like you said, the powers that be were envisioning the reactions to be. And instead of these guys getting rattled, like, oh my God, we're going to kind of get split up here, they're going to do something else because we're not getting these reactions, they embraced it, and they kind of spun it around on them and made it into something and kind of forced them into, like, oh, this is working in a different way, but it's working. And that's a credit to these guys for taking some chances when they went out there. Probably not stuff they're like, well, maybe we should go out and do this and this. They probably just went out there and did what they felt came naturally, which a lot of times is what works. You throw stuff out there, you throw it against the wall, but you have to sometimes just have the balls to do it. And I think these guys did.
Yeah, so a trombone suddenly works. And I think that really did kind of open the floodgate for performers, for people within the industry to go, okay, they're going to focus on some tag team wrestling here, because those guys are starting to get some headway. They're starting to make some traction here. So you look at, the landscape now. And the first team I'm going to mention, because, I'm huge fans of them. I think they're great guys, and they've also, more than in any other team right now, they are a team, and that's the Revival.
Right.
So I think you have guys like that. They see the New Day and go, okay, this could be a trend here, and let's focus on tag team. Let's focus on being a tag team, wrestling as a tag team, distracting the referee, cutting the ring off, all of these things that the art of tag team wrestling is, and they do it right now, and arguably throughout as good as anybody, show what a tag team match can be if you have 4 people on the same page.
Right. I think another way to look at it too is that with WWE, with the Performance Center down in Orlando, with NXT, with them looking to they're having such an expanded roster, not just there but here, but SmackDown, Raw, the network. I think there's more of an awareness as far as outside what outside promotions are doing also, not just in the bubble of WWE. So I think that, like, when you look around, like, teams like the Young Bucks, they're not maybe known, they don't have a ton of exposure on television as far as, the power of Raw or SmackDown, but they really have like an underground groundswell to them, like, the Ring of Honor, Japan, the Indies, like, they're just, with social media these days, it's easier to get your name out there, but like there's a big, a lot of talk about those guys in the matches they were having, guys like The Addiction, Christopher Daniels and Frank Kazarian. So I think with with outside tag team wrestling having such a predominant and important role in wrestling right now, almost helps the guys in WWE as well.
Yeah, and you talked about the Young Bucks. I think they're kind of doing it on their own terms at this point.
Right.
And I think they got like 452 shirts for sale on Pro Wrestling Tees right now. I'm going to have to get me one.
Right.
I think.
Maybe we'll get a free one for dropping their names.
For plugging them, you think? Yeah. They're good kids. I like them. I did a House of Hardcore show for Tommy.
Yeah.
Tommy Dreamer.
Right.
And they were wrestling London and Kendrick. And I did a quick promo beforehand because I had a feeling that this was going to be pretty insane. And it was. It really did remind me of a Hardys versus Edge and Christian kind of vibe, in that you could tell these four guys had the same mentality and just wanted to go out and tear it up and just create new things.
Right.
And I think that's what those guys are doing.
Right. And the revival, like you touched on them earlier, but there's such a throwback that they're different. They're doing it so old school that it's new school. You know what I mean? And it's a really good compliment to these guys now that are kind of wrestling this newer, fast-paced tag style, that they can kind of ground them, slow them down, cut off the ring, and do some old school stuff. It's just a kind of a cool dynamic within the match that makes it exciting.
Well, something like the Minnesota Wrecking Crew hasn't been done for so long. Like you said, it's new again. But I think they add a crispness and kind of the modern crispness and explosiveness to things that didn't really happen back then.
Right, they put a new school spin on an old school idea, so to speak.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Wow! Watch, they're gonna put that on a T-shirt now. Sons of bitches.
Yeah.
We're not gonna see a penny.
I'm gonna call and get that registered after that.
Yeah. Okay. Good. You can't trust them. They're from North Carolina.
Uh-uh.
You know who else we forgot? The Usos.
Yeah, they're great.
If I'm looking back to the last couple of years before, maybe we did an injustice in not mentioning them. A la the Outlaws setting the plate for our teams, the Usos set the table for the New Day, etc., because I remember back a few years, and I wasn't watching the product much at this point, but I had heard the Usos and the Wyatts had torn it up in a series.
Well, let me tell you something. I was live at the pay-per-view. I was doing the pre-show panel, and I was still out there in the crowd watching the match. And I haven't seen a crowd react to a tag match like that in years.
Yeah.
And I had goosebumps watching it. And I was happy for all of them because they're good guys, and they really were not in a tough spot, but they weren't really utilized to their full capabilities for a long time. And once that door opened, they kicked it open, and they ran through it, and they had the perfect foils in Rowan and Luke Harper at the time, two big guys that can go, especially Luke Harper, and they just tore the house down. I remember I made it a point to find them after, and I was like, guys, like, I haven't seen a match like that, and I said, I don't want to blow my own horn, but I haven't seen a match that had a tag match that had the crowd like that since Edge, Christian, and the Hardys. And that's not a knock against anybody else, but I haven't seen it since then. And they, with tears in their eyes, they like hugged me and they're like, "Thanks so much for saying that. That means a lot." So it was cool. It was a cool moment.
I remember probably a year after the fact, after the matches happened, once they gave me the network finally, because it was too cheap to pay for it. I saw those matches, and I remember DMing, because that's what kids do nowadays.
Yeah, they DM.
They DM.
Snapchat.
Basically, I didn't have their numbers, but I DM'd the Usos and told them, just how impressed I was and how much I really enjoyed those matches and how proud they should be. Because they really were. I don't want to discredit what those guys did for a few years there to really start to try and bring back an emphasis on tag team wrestling.
Right. Well, they both had personality too, and they just didn't have, not to say they weren't given it, but the platform wasn't there yet for them to show their personalities. And I think it really came when, even they necessarily didn't even need a microphone to do a promo, but they were, when they started doing the entrance where they were doing they did the dance, and then they started to, they actually had the stage mic'd for them, so when they were talking on the way down to the ring, you could hear them audibly, and y'all say "oos," y'all say "oh," and the whole crowd, they love that stuff. That brings them in. You're a part of their act, and that's when they really started to transform. Now the stuff in the ring people were like, they could feel more attached to them and on a personal level, and that helped their matches along as well.
So what other teams were we forgetting?
Sweet Sean and Adorable Adam.
Oh, that's a completely different tag team story. Wow.
Should we talk about how you and Val Venus were originally supposed to be the new Midnight Express before Bob Holly and Bart Gunn?
I feel like we have to now.
Yeah.
Initially in the Funkin' Dojo, which was a camp that they had in Stamford, Connecticut, for aspiring WWF wrestlers or people that were wrestling in, Mexico, like Val was at that point. And I think he was Big Steel. And I was just doing the indies around Canada. They brought us down, and they had a camp with like Taka Michinoku and Darren Drozdov and Mark Henry, Ahmed Johnson, people who needed seasoning that were already on the show, or a guy like Taka who it was language barriers. Or people like Sean, who they thought they wanted to sign but weren't sure. And I remember they started putting Sean and I in a team that week. And I believe it was Bruce Pritchard later told me, that was a bit of a test for you guys, because they put us in with Ahmed and Tiger Ali Singh. And they wanted to see how we did with that and how we were as a team. And then after that, it was floated that we were going to be the new Midnight Express. Adorable Adam, and I think it was Central Sean.
I don't think they had names. I think we just dubbed you that because you were.
Is that what it was?
Well, I think you had reservations about it. Obviously, you would have done it, and you guys probably would have hit it out of the park. But you had reservations because it was the new something. It was something that had already been done. And
anything new never works.
Yeah, and it was just like it was kind of one of those things. You don't know how long the shelf life's going to be, and when you want to debut, you wanted to go. And
the reason there's a new anything is because the original was amazing.
Right. So, and it's hard, especially when you have two unknowns coming in, and you guys are supposed to be this Midnight Express, this legendary tag team, and nobody knows who Adorable Adam or Sweet Sean is. And,
the only thing that would have been reminiscent to the original Midnights would have been Jim Cornette.
Right.
And
he was the manager.
He's not in the ring.
Right.
So it definitely, like new Rockers, new Midnight Express, new anything like that,
new foundation
doesn't really work.
Didn't work.
Yeah, I mean, think of it in musical terms. There's not a new Beatles.
Right.
Because they did it so good the first time. You don't need a new Rockers. You're not going to top what Sean and Marty did.
Yeah.
But I digress.
So what do you think here? You think the tag team division is in good hands where it stands now, or you think that it's going to kind of continue the trend that it's been on, where it's hot for a seemingly year or two and then cools off and then picks back up again? What do you think?
I think there's enough teams right now that it could remain hot for as long as, a team like, let's say the Revival stays healthy, because I think they might be the cornerstone of the division in that they're a tag team. I don't see them being split off. I do see American Alpha being split up. So I think as long as you have that central heel tag team for all the teams coming in from NXT, or let's say the Young Bucks ever sign, or as long as you have all of those teams surrounding to be able to come in and work them, and as long as they stay healthy and stay a team, I think you can run with it for a while until a new crop of teams come along, or it goes through another lull.
Yeah, I really wish that
didn't really answer your question.
No, but I wish that the guys would, would take the avenue of coming in as a tag team. And I think it's a really good way to start, and especially get your feet wet. And I think that too. I mean, a lot of times guys would backstage, and if they weren't being used or felt they weren't being used in a certain capacity, and being one of the veterans at the time when I was there, a lot of guys would come up to me and be like, what can we do? And I was like, find somebody that you really like, that you think you can work well together, and pitch being a tag team. And tell them this is where you see it going. I was like, I don't think Edge and Christian would be where they were singles if we were never a tag team. That's from my personal standpoint. I can't speak for anybody else, but if you're asking me, that's what I would do. So,
well, here's the interesting part about that is also having the mindset of not having to have all the glory.
Right.
Sharing the glory, sharing in the ideas, and understanding that it is a cooperative. If you can't do that, it's not going to work. So it really is a team in the truest sense of the form, because you're going to have to share merchandise checks.
Right.
You know, it's split between both of you. There are different things that are involved in that, and in order for it to work right, you just have to commit. But that's true of anything. It really is. And if you commit, it can work, and it can parlay into other things. And I'm really glad I just got parlay in.
Yeah, but
I like that word.
It all boils down to chemistry. The most successful tag teams are the ones that have real chemistry. You can't manufacture chemistry. It doesn't work. You can tell when two guys are thrown together, even if they like each other. If there's no chemistry and it's not working, it's not working.
And you can't teach that. So, Bird, that was fun. I enjoy talking about tag teams because, as we said, it's a different art form than the singles match. And coming off of the Hardys against Cesaro, it seemed like a good week to do it.
Yeah, tag teams are hot right now, so it seems like, yeah, like you said, good week to do it. Good talk, good chat, good to hit the tag team subject
button
a little bit there, brother.
Bat it around like a tennis match.
Smack it around. Yeah.
I'll smack you around. Hey, and it looks like Revival's getting healthy again, so I think it's going to heat up even more.
Oh, snap. Shit just got real.
Yeah. Then you got the Usos and the New Day on the SmackDown side, as well as other tag teams, but they had the rap battle last week.
All kinds of guys going. Yeah. Rhino and Heath Slater. Can't forget about them.
Good
Rhino
time to. I just did up my fly. I realized it was down. Did you hear that? Yeah. So that means I probably went to my coffee shop with my fly down.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess I should probably
gotta go there every day.
So if you want to follow the show on the Twitter, you can do so at E&C Pod, or you can email us, ecpodofawesomeness@gmail.com. Boom. Second time ever I nailed that one.
Whoa.
Yep. You can follow or unfollow or block Edge at EdgeRatedR, and me at Christian4Peeps.
Just mute Jay. He won't even realize.
Yeah.
And in case you're listening, iPhone guy, you won't mute Jay because you're his ring rat. Which,
yeah, that's.
I don't even know what to say about that.
No,
very dated reference too. Come on, get with 2017.
Right.
Jesus.
So, well, maybe he knows something about Apple Podcasts. That's one way you can download the show. Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, all the places where you get your podcasts, where you can get us. So, do it. Or
you're the info guy.
Wait, we should also give our number for more voicemails, right? So
we
they can reach us at. Yeah, we should. And I'm going to do it right now. Shut up. So yeah, give a voicemail call and try not to leave as creepy a weird one as the Apple guy. So our voicemail is 929-367-8204.
Say it again.
929-367-8204.
Bam. See, here, and we found our tag team. Like we're a tag team on a podcast, Bird. Yeah, I take the initial part, you take the end part. So basically, I shine at the beginning, we switch off taking heat, and then you blow the hot comeback. You see what happens there, Bird?
And that's completely
I can tie
different.
it all back in, shut your mouth. I'm trying to make a point. Oh, man, I'm a genius sometimes.
And just like every real tag team, we fucking hate each other, and I want to slap your ass.
Exactly.
Kick you in the face. But you know what's going to happen right now? Unlike our dynamic in the ring,
I'm going to hate you even more.
Here we go.
Here we go.